Shabbat Shalom Mishpacha from snowy Ohio and sunny Ohio. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Can everybody hear me please? Okay, great. I guess I'm not shouting the house down because I want to keep my voice to at a tone that you can hear me. That's great. Today for your testimony, Yael, woman of the tent, and you write Shabbat Shalom Rabbi Hakohen, Rabbi Kefa, Rabbi, and to all the Mishpacha. Shabbat Shalom. Just want to give thanks this morning to the Abba of all creation. He is lifting me up and exalting me. I'm abundantly increased and have been able to circulate large sums of currency this past 6 days of labor. Benevolent be the name of His esteemed kingdom forever and ever. Amen. Absolutely, we give thanks for that. Dede Shabbat Shalom to you. Dede is giving thanks to Abba Yahweh for His mercy towards her, and each He makes perfect and blessing me every day. That's great. Baruch Hashem, Abba Yahweh. Just want to say, to start in passing, you may have heard that there was a shooting in New Zealand, and there was a shooting in 2 mosques over there, and several Muslims were killed. I believe the count is 49 plus injured on top. Our condolences go to them, to those Muslims and those Muslim families. I believe I bereave their families, but at the same time I would have to say that this thing has been written about me so long ago. My original when I was writing these things about prophecy and future and prophetic things of the scriptures, I wrote that one day will come when mosques will be attacked, and the result, obviously the consequence is of a mosque being attacked is not that somebody just got up and attacked the mosque. This all started with radical Muslims attacking churches, killing Christians, attacking and maiming civilians, killing Jews in Israel and other places, killing and bombing and putting synagogues to fire and arson. So my point is that this is a result of a build-up of momentum which the radical Muslims have themselves kick-started. And what we are seeing now is, sadly, is a result that many innocent Muslims will face. What the radicals want to give, the innocent will have to receive. And this show of hand will continue. It will continue with the Muslims, radicals, and it will continue with those that see their values in the West being attacked. People that did that, you can give them whatever label. You can call them white supremacist, or you can call them some other label. I mean, this person didn't call himself a white supremacist. He was just an ordinary, a man from an ordinary family, white man from a white family. He called himself an ordinary man. He was an eco-fascist, and he did not ascribe himself to any particular racist ideology. He simply said that we want to protect our families and our values and the way we live, etc. And I do understand that particular point, that when people's values are attacked, when people's homes are attacked, or their worship places are attacked, I think it's the what we saw is a representative action, what they call towards the aggressors. And I saw that 20 years ago. This is nothing new for me. This was coming. So and when I wrote about it, people were like, well, how could this be? How could this happen? People at the time questioned it. I wrote about it in one of my books at that time, that Muslims will be deported from Western land, and nobody had heard about revocation of your nationality back then. Everybody thought that nationality was permanent, set in, engraved in stone. Nobody could be thrown out of a country. And I wrote back then, and I was asked by a Messianic believer in Messiah to remove that excerpt, remove that paragraph, because she said that this sounds very hostile towards the Muslims, that they're going to be deported. And I was like, this is going to happen. And she was like, no, just remove it for the sake of, so that people don't see this as a book that that saying that we hate Muslims or they're going to be thrown out. Because I said it's not about hatred, because I came from that background, and I said this is about reality in the future. And that reality is now true. In America, as you yourselves saw, a Muslim lady that went from Alabama to fight in Syria, her nationality was revoked. We saw the same thing in England. This Shemaima lady, Shemaima Begum, her nationality was revoked as well. And probably similarly other Muslims who have gone out to fight with the allied nations in Syria and other places. So, by the way, these were all written about. This is not new stuff for me. This is old news, old hat. Stuff that I said would take place, and it took place. So we got to give thanks to the Abba and the Master Yehoshua for at least giving us the foresight and the insight to know these things a long time before they even happened. And so we now see them today. At the same time, I was talking and I was saying to someone that we today are called Forever Israel. We didn't used to be always called Forever Israel. We started as Abrahamic faith, and I kind of like the name Abrahamic faith. I think I kind of like, we kind of moved on from Abrahamic faith. I would rather go back to that name personally, because sometimes I find trouble sending books to certain nations that don't like the name Israel, and then they confiscate the books. But if the books had said on their Abrahamic faith, they wouldn't have no problem with it. So therefore sometimes I think that perhaps we should maybe go back to the old name, or maybe but then I say, well, I say, we are Forever Israel. What difference does it make whether we call ourselves Abrahamic faith or Forever Israel? It's the same. So then I say, just continue as you are, because we are Hebrews. We belong to the God of Israel, and so we've got to continue in the faith of our forefather Abraham, Isaac and Jacob. And so it's great to be here. Baruch Hashem, we kind of have arrived, because I was talking about things that I am teaching today that no one is teaching on the planet Earth today. No one, meaning any ministries that call themselves ministries, any churches, any synagogues, any standalone pastors, preachers, teachers, whatever you want to give titles to them, they're not teaching any of this stuff. And these things that you have been taught in the last maybe 8 weeks or 12 weeks is inaccessible to most people in religious groups, because they're not taught these things. But I have seen tremendous change after I started to teach this privately first, and then publicly. I have seen tremendous change in people's lives occurring as a result of that, and people's lives are forever transformed, forever. And I say Baruch Hashem for the arrival. I think it's great. So this is why I believe that we need to continue in this, and this is the only way you're going to have a relationship with the eternal I Am, the eternal God that we serve, who is known by different names around the world. Whether you choose to call him Jehovah, whether you call him Yahweh, or whether you call him Lord, God, whatever title you give him, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, those titles are just titles. What matters is what is within you. The kingdom of God is within you. Yeshua, Jesus the Messiah, said, I am the light of the world. And then he said, you are the light of the world. So unless we understand that, we'll continue in darkness. And most people out there, unfortunately, for better or worse, continue in darkness. And darkness doesn't necessarily mean that you're sitting in a room with the lights off, like me in Ohio at night with one little bulb. It doesn't mean that. Darkness means that you do not have the necessary knowledge that can benefit you and bring you increases and blessings in your life. That's really what darkness means. And majority, as you know, you look around and people are in darkness because they're in dogmatic religious affiliations that sound really nice but have no meat to them. I saw a movie which took me about 3 days to finish. I think it was called Aquaman. I would encourage you all to look at that movie. Aquaman. Why? Because that movie kind of resonated with me, what I'm teaching, because in there I saw energy, being formed and thrown around with the hands, and that is something that you're learning, and that is something I think good to know, and that's actually very close to the truth, by the way, of how energy works. So it's very important to understand it. But the film kind of resonated with me in a couple of points. One was the energy bit, and two was there was two great love scenes in there. I really liked. There was something beautiful love scenes of this, under Atlantis Queen and the man on the surface. I think they were beautiful love scenes, and definitely recommend it as a movie to keep on your list. Okay, so the joke today, our joke of the week, heaven and hell, and this joke is, I guess, probably told by the opposite party, maybe Jews and maybe Protestants. It says, a virtuous woman dies, goes to heaven, and finds everything she expected: picturesque landscapes, perfect sunsets, and infinite tranquility and serenity. Only one thing puzzled her was a high wall far off in the distance that climbs almost to the skies. And she asked the angels, "What's behind that wall?" "Oh, that's where we put the Catholics," the angel replies. "They think they are the only ones up there." So the Parsha today is Parsha's Vayikra, which is a book of Leviticus. Chapters 1 is where the Parsha starts. And this Parsha particularly and practically actually is really designated to the priesthood. And the priesthood is the one that received it, and there were, a lot of people think it applies to everybody. It doesn't. It has applications within it for the rest of the people, but the Parsha is mainly directed at the priesthood and for the priesthood within their functioning, how they're to function, how they're to coordinate with the people, how they're to bring worship. So with that, is where we basically are with the Parsha. I thought it was relevant and probably pertinent that instead of just talking about the Parsha and what it says and what it doesn't say, I'll read a couple of lines for you so you get the gist. It says, and depending on which Bible you have, it may say different titles there. I have the Hidden Truths Hebraic Scrolls. I just remembered one thing before I talk about the Hidden Truths Hebraic Scrolls and some of the things that happened with it. Number one, last week I did a summary, and unfortunately that summary wasn't recorded till the end. You probably, all of you, missed it. It's not in your regular listening, by the way. And so in order to listen to that summary, you have to go back to the audio last week that is on YouTube, on our website, www.youtube.com/SIMALT. There, if you pick up last week's audio and go to the very end, about 5-6 minutes before the end, and you will get the summary, which was recorded and not put out in the class, by the way. And you can listen to that. I think it's important to listen to it to get the gist of the whole lesson. That's number one thing. Number two, there was a complaint that came that the Hidden Truths Hebraic Scrolls Complete Bible, the pages were being cut, the text was being cut at the top, excuse me, and at the bottom of what Rabbi Kefa showed me. The Bibles that were being printed by Amazon. So Amazon wrote to me and asked me that this was happening, and they wanted me to look into it. So I looked into it, and I went back to Amazon and told them that the problem started with them, because they had made me change the format of the Bible to a format I didn't used to use. They had an old system and a new system, and in their old system the format worked perfectly. Then they made me change it, and the new format doesn't work with the complete Bible. So it kind of truncates text that is at the very top and the very bottom. I think it's to do with those kind of terminologies. So anyhow, so those, I would recommend you that try not to buy, at least for now, because the Bible has been taken off from there. until the Amazon people fix it. I sent them a copy of my PDF and I told them that they need to fix that problem because they created it. I didn't create that problem. They created it with their new formatting. And so they're going to look into it and get back to me. In the meantime, we do have the complete Bible available on lulu.com /simalt, SIMALT. So you can definitely purchase the complete Bible in hardback or in softback from Lulu Press books. So I mean, it's still available. Amazon has the other books which are no problem, but this one showed up one problem, and that's the problem that is being fixed between Amazon and myself. So I can't tell you exactly how long it will take to fix it, but it's going to be back and forth until we hit it exactly right how they print. Obviously their print practices have changed, and because of that the books are not coming out legible. At least the complete Bible is not coming out legible. The rest are okay, actually. The rest is no problem. So just that one they need to look at, and they'll probably advise me what I need to do next. Having said that, that's where we are with the books. Now coming back to our text, like I said, that depending on which Bible you have, I'm reading from the Hidden Truths Hebraic Scrolls 7th edition, which is the Vav edition, the latest one. It says here, and Yahweh called to Moshe and spoke to him out of the tent of the appointed time, saying, Speak to the children of Israel and say to them, If any man from you bring an offering to Yahweh, you shall bring your offering of the cattle, even of the herd and of the flock. If his offering be a burnt sacrifice of the herd, let him offer a male without blemish. He shall offer it of his own voluntary will at the door of the tent of the appointed times before Yahweh. So basically this chapter kind of goes down about a particular offering that Israel will bring or people will bring. And then it says in verse 7, And the sons of Aaron the Kohen shall put fire upon the altar and lay the wood in the right order on the fire. Okay, number 7. Keep your finger and cusp on verse number 7. And verse number 11 says, And he shall kill it on the side of the altar northward before Yahweh, and the Kohanim, Aaron's sons, shall sprinkle his blood round about the altar. Okay, there's a lot of meaning in this text, and a lot of people, religious people I guess, and so-called rabbis out there, all they do is they look at the text, they look at the Hebrew, and they argue and they debate, and they this text, this word, and this character, and this, and meaning of this and meaning of that. Total gibberish, if you ask me. Total waste of time. It doesn't really have any meaning to you and me in this world today, 2019. What's the meaning to me today? To you, these things happen in the tabernacle and temple times. They really have no meaning to us today because 1, there's no temple standing in Israel. 2, there's no tabernacle standing. 3, where is the priesthood? It's all scattered. So in that retrospective way or representative way, it seems to be that today, who's going to bring a bull and who's going to kill it and who's going to do the rest, as it says. But actually there is a meaning to it, because in Scripture everything has a meaning forever, and that has to be extrapolated from the text. And the Torah, the books, our books, have 70 faces to them. 70 faces. We haven't looked at even maybe half of those faces yet, but let me show you a face that probably hasn't been looked at in these particular books. And it's not about how the Hebrew characters look and what vowel is where. Those are totally irrelevant pieces of information that don't give us nothing. They may give you a good feeling for 5 minutes, or you may walk out of a sermon with good feeling, hey, I know the meaning of a particular Hebrew word, and you may be dancing around that, but in your real life you'll get nothing out of it. So I think that this is why it's very important. I kind of like to do the beef and the potatoes approach. I'll take you and I'll show you what it is that God is trying to show, not what it is that is being read and said, because that's another thing that probably not necessary. So here, one thing we know from here is that whenever sacrifices were brought to God, that they were brought to a particular point, a particular spot. Now I want you to notice this, very important. This particular spot, this particular point was chosen by the priesthood. Okay? Now, if we read over here, what does it say? It says, and Yahweh, or in your Bibles it might say, and the Lord called to Moses, or Moshe, and spoke to him out of the tent of the appointed time. So this tent of the appointed times was plotted somewhere. Okay? So maybe, for that to, for us to understand that, you'd have to go back into the book of Exodus, and it will speak to you about, this particular construction of this tent, how it was constructed, and who was to carry it, and who was to put it, and how it was supposed to be assembled. So you could say this is like a mobile sanctuary, mobile in the sense that God is with Israel, and God is basically, God is not like a weight is carried around everywhere, but God is like a spirit and an energy, and this energy is being transported from one place to the other. And wherever this energy, wherever this particular sanctuary is assembled, there the energy rests. Now start looking at it from really what it is. And every time we did this, every time a bullock, a lamb, a goat was brought, it says in verse 5, or we go to verse 3, it says, if his offering be a burnt sacrifice of the herd, let him offer a male without blemish. He shall offer it for his own voluntary will at the door of the tent of the appointed times before Yahweh. So this is obviously reference to the children of Israel bringing a sacrifice. And this is why I say that if I start going into the text, we'll be here all day, because I'm telling you, there's just way too much here that I'm thinking I'll be here 6 hours trying to explain just these 3 verses, but I'll try to cut short so you don't get bored. It says, and he shall kill the bullock before Yahweh, or before the Lord, and the Kohanim, Aaron's son, shall bring the blood and sprinkle the blood round about the altar that is by the door of the tent of the appointed times. And he shall skin the burnt offering and cut it into pieces. And the sons of Aaron, the Kohen, shall put fire upon the altar and lay the wood in the right order on the fire. So note, I said to keep your fingers on chapter 7, and the sons of Aaron. In other words, God even knew that this in the future, Aaron won't be alive, he'll be long gone, but his sons will be alive. And so one speaks to you now. Sons of Aaron shall put fire under the altar, or upon the altar, and lay the wood in the right order on fire. So, and the Kohanim, Aaron's son, shall lay the parts, the head and the fat in order upon the wood that is on the fire which is upon the altar. And then it goes on to say, it says, and he shall kill it on the side of the altar. In other words, this bull, this animal, whether it was a bull, whether it was a goat or a sheep, it would be slaughtered, butchered, and it would be then be on the side of the altar, by the wall of the altar, basically on the side. And it would say then it'll be he shall kill it on the side of the altar northward, in other words facing the north, before the Lord, before Yahweh. And the Kohanim, Aaron's son, shall sprinkle his blood round about the altar. Okay, so what is the north? What is the side of the altar? And what is this whole reference about? Why Aaron's sons? So I think I explained once before that the north is your mind, your consciousness, and Satan, who is actually an angel, not this depiction in movies and billboards of this red character with horns on it. That's not Satan. That's just a depiction that people made. Satan is simply an angel that God himself created and is under the authority of God. And Satan has a job and a role, and that is to obstruct you from achieving your desires and successes. Okay? Let's understand it very simply. Sin is missing of the mark. Sin is not some airy-fairy concept that people teach you. Sin is actually simply you missing the mark. Philosophically, when you don't attain your desires, you miss the mark. That means Torah. In other words, instructions to get the mark. But if you don't hit the mark, you miss it. And so here Aaron is told that he shall sprinkle his blood Who's his blood? Is obviously not Aaron's blood, is the animal being spoken about, his or her. In other words, it could be a calf, male or female. Bull could be male and a calf could be female. And Aaron's son shall sprinkle his, or could also say her in the case of a calf, his or her blood around about the altar. So what is northward? Northward is our higher consciousness on the philosophical side. And first it tells you that the instructions are with the Kohanim. The Kohanim will set up the altar, they will set up the tabernacle, and they will tell you what to do. And so you're to bring your offerings, and offerings these days, obviously these days you don't bring bullocks and you don't bring sheep and lambs. You may bring your concerns, you may bring your offerings, you may bring other stuff, that you offer to the priesthood, or you may have questions of how to interact with God. And Aaron's sons, of course Aaron's not around, Aaron's sons are, and Aaron's sons will bring the blood. In other words, what is the blood? Now, don't look at the blood as red liquid. Here the blood is actually energy. Blood is life force. So what it says is Aaron's sons will direct the life force, and they will sprinkle the life force. Now stop reading blood, read life force. And they will sprinkle the life force round about the altar. What is the altar? Altar is a form, it's a place where God's energy rests, where God's energy dwells. Everything in life. Now I was talking about some stones this morning with someone, that the stones I have, they are sitting on my table, they represent different energies. And those different energies connect back to God. Everything connects back to source. The source is always the eternal I am, the eternal God. That is the source. So they all connect back to source. Here, the Kohanim are representative ambassadors to manage this energy. And when they manage this, because this was like a center point of energy, and they were to take this blood, which is life force, because people say, hey, what the heck, why does God want blood? Why does God want these animals? What's he going to get out of this? And God doesn't need to eat blood or eat meat. See, this is the whole point. The point is missed. All these activities were not centered around God having blood, or God wanted to eat a steak, or hey, I like that leg of that lamb. None of that. What was representative here is energy. This is all about energy, life force, and things around us that we don't see. Aaron's sons had a canny ability to actually look into that, because God gave them certain abilities that were not given to everybody else. Moses had those abilities as well. And so they are told that they are the ones to light the fire on the altar. In other words, fire also represents energy. So you're supposed to light up this fire, in this particular case Aaron's sons, and they lay the wood in the right order. So the Aaron's sons are supposed to know the order too. And then it says in verse 11, and he shall kill it on the side of the altar northward before Yahweh. So the north is also with the place of the throne of Yahweh. This is also the throne of God in the north hemisphere. So as I told you, that your mind, your higher consciousness is always in the north. That is connected source. That is source, by the way, connected to source. In other words, to I am, the eternal I am. Your I am is connected to the eternal I am, and is all the one and the same. That is the kingdom within you that always Jesus spoke about, saying the kingdom is within you. When he said, you are light of the world, he wasn't speaking about some airy-fairy light. He was talking about your energy, what you really are at source. At source, you and me may have physical bodies outside, but at source, we are nothing but energies. All of us are energies, and different energies move differently. Here, what we are told is that Aaron's sons had this understanding that higher consciousness, super consciousness, also known as super consciousness, is basically connecting back to the source. When you connect back to the source, then you really wield the power of existence, the power to move things, the power to shift things. And we saw that the Messiah Jesus, he demonstrated some of that. When he did his miracles, he demonstrated how he was able to shift time and space. I've got some updates coming up. 1 second, please. I want to delay these updates. My computer wants to do an update. We'll delay it. And so what I was saying is that so he demonstrated how he was able to manipulate the nature, and he was able to do things that ordinary human beings are not able to do, like walk on water, multiply the bread and the fish and the loaves, etc. And he was able to do all of that. So that's all, he knew how to work energy. He knew how to work energy and source to change things. So here we are told is that the Aaron and his sons were able to do that also. Now let me take you back, and I think this may help. I may need to go to Exodus chapter 8 for this. Exodus chapter 8, I want to read a little story to you. This is very important now, so you may want to pay attention. You may learn something out of this. Okay, let me go back to Exodus 8. Exodus chapter 8. Now this is where Moses speaks to God, or God speaks to Moses, and God says to Moses that you need to go to Pharaoh. But let me read out what the text actually says. Let's go back and start at maybe chapter 7. Okay, I'm going to go a little bit further back and see if there's anything relevant here that I can speak about. Okay, I'll speak about chapter 7 and we'll start with verse 1. And Yahweh said to Moshe, see, I have made you a mighty one. In your Bibles it should read, or some of your Bibles they should read God. See, I have made you a mighty one, or God in some of your Bibles. I have made you a God to Pharaoh, and Aaron your brother shall be your Navi, your prophet. Now God here is not, people might think, oh well, how can Moses be God? Because Moses has the I am, just like you and me, we have the I am. I am, if you remember, I said was to eternal source. Now I wanted to speak a little bit about the name. If I go there, right, my goodness, I don't know when this will finish. So actually I need to take you back further, a little bit further, because now this brings me to another point, a very, very important point. Exodus chapter 3 verse 14. Okay, it says here, and Elohim said to Moshe, or your Bibles might say, and the Lord God said to Moses, Ahaya, Asher Ahaya, and he said, thus you shall say to the children of Israel, Ahaya, or Ahiyeh, it depends how the Hebrew is pronounced. By some different people pronounce it with different French accent, or Arabic accent, or whatever accent. So Ahaya, Asher Ahaya, or Ahiyeh, Asher Ahiyeh, and he said this will be the name, and says, moreover Elohim said to Moses, Moshe. I'm going to have to read an English Bible here, because English meaning where there's just a straight KJV type of translation. And so I can maybe give you a little bit of the essence of what's being said, so in case you get confused with the Hebrew and English. And it says, and God said unto Moses, this is the KJV by the way, I am that I am. And he said, thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, I am hath sent me unto you. And then it says, I'm going to read the last part of the verse, 3:15. And the God of Jacob hath sent me unto you. This is my name forever, and this is my memorial unto all generations. Okay, so a remembrance. Let me go back to my Hidden Truths Hebraic Scrolls, verses of this one. It says, the Elohim of Yaakov has sent me to you. This is my name forever, and this is my memorial to all generations. And there are footnotes there, and let's see. Okay, so what does it actually mean? Because it says here, let's take it to plain English, the I am, the meaning. So what does it mean that God declares to Moses that I go tell the children of Israel that I am sent you? Okay, there is actually an esoteric meaning in this, and I spoke about a little bit of the Kabbalah side, one point. Maybe I'll speak a little bit about another side. This point, esoteric meaning is this: that it says that Moses, and God said to Moses, "Okay, stop. I am. Stop." And God said to Moses, "I am. Stop." And he said, "Thou shalt say." Okay, who's the I am? Did Moses send himself? Because it says, "You will tell them, I am sent me to you." Who's the I am in this particular scenario? Let's now juxtapose. Remember I told you about higher consciousness. Yes, God, but no, not God. Right there, it's Moses himself. Remember, Moses goes to them and says, "I am." Well, what's Moses going to say in the Hebrew? What's he going to say in the Hebrew? He's going to use the terminology in the Hebrew to mean "I am sent me." Who's I am? I am is not some external entity. I am is within you. You are connected to eternal source, the eternal I am. So what's he saying? The eternal I am. He's saying, "I am sent me to you." And the people are saying, "What do you mean you sent me to you?" People are going to understand exactly what he says, but there's two meanings to this text. There are exactly two meanings here. I am meaning I, and I am meaning God, and I am meaning Yahweh or Jehovah, and I am has all these meanings over here. So don't get confused here. This is very important. This will set your life. This is actually what I call the turnkey. There's a turnkey in here, and that's something that I don't speak about too much. Keep it to myself. So the turnkey is I'll give you a little bit of it. The turnkey is this. It speaks about I am, and I have spoken to you about I am, and I've spoken to you about divine source and your higher consciousness. They connect to the I am, and that is what God was telling Moses, that your eternal I am, meaning God, is connected with your higher consciousness, which is you carry that in your mind. So you're going to go tell the people that they can connect with me this way, and they're going to be brought out. And then when he says, "Oh, who shall I say?" You see, this is a question that I asked years ago. I said, "Well, why didn't God just say that Yahweh sent you? Why didn't he just say straight off, Yahweh sent me? Why did he say that I am sent me, or Ahaya?" Because you can translate Ahaya in different ways. I am that I am, or I am that I will be, etc., or I am that always was. So my point is why did Yahweh didn't just say there that, or like in your English translation, didn't say the Lord sent me? It doesn't say that. It says I am sent me. Now I am has a number of different ways of pronunciation in the Hebrew, or spoken Hebrew is slightly different in different formats. And so there could be one as Anochi. It doesn't say Anochi. Ani. It doesn't say Ani. I am. Ani. Anochi. I am. No, it doesn't use neither of those. It uses Ahaya or Ehiye. It uses that terminology. Here, Yahweh sets a signature. Now you know that some of the groups out there, the so-called, I wouldn't say even left, I'll say the right, those fanatical groups out there, cultist type groups, who you say, "Oh, that's it, this is God's name forever and everything else is manufactured." Okay, there may be some truth, not so much to what is God's name forever or what is manufactured. There is some truth to this, that God declared himself as I am, not I was, or not Yahweh at this particular juncture, because Yahweh was known by God. And I don't want to go into the etymology of Yahweh, and because we'll get stuck in linguistics, and you'll get all confused with me giving you references to the different Bibles and different codexes and different dictionaries. Won't get us nowhere. It'll just be around and around the circle, and I'll come back to the same point. The point is simply this. This is why I never focused on the name, how it's pronounced. It's irrelevant, by the way, how the name is pronounced, because the name was spoken in different dialects by the priesthood and Israel, and in different formats. So one could pronounce the name Yehovah, and one could pronounce it Yahovah, and one could pronounce it Yahweh or Yahweh. So this is why it's a moot point. People out there arguing about name, and I'll say it's a moot point. So what is actually the name? What is the representative character of this name? And it is very simple as this. It's the I am, the eternal I am. Now, I've given you a part of the key, and I'm not going to explain the rest because that'll be for my private audience. So, having said that, let's go forward now to Aaron's situation, where we now have Exodus chapter 7, where God speaks to Moses, and I'll pick it up in the Bible here again. Let's see, chapter 7, which is in Parsha's Vayikra, I believe. And in this particular chapter, it says, and Yahweh said to Moshe, see, I have made you a god, or a mighty one, to Pharaoh, and Aaron your brother shall be your Navi, or your prophet. You shall speak all that pay close attention now. You shall speak. In other words, verbal. You will verbalize all that in other words, I am commanding you. And Aaron your brother shall speak to Pharaoh. Again, verbalizing to Pharaoh that he must send the children of Israel out of his land. I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and multiply my signs and my wonders in the land of Mitzrayim. But Pharaoh will not heed you. Now, by the way, you may not know that the first few miracles were performed by Aaron, not by Moses. Everybody thinks that Moses performed the 10 miracles. And no, it wasn't Moses that performed all the 10 miracles. When you go and read the text, you will realize that the first few miracles were performed by Aaron. In fact, Aaron was the one who performed those miracles. Having said that, now why Aaron? Because exactly what we were reading in our Parsha, that Aaron is to connect to eternal source, reference point Yahweh, that we know, the 4 letters, Yud-He-Wah-He, or reference point the eternal consciousness. What is the eternal consciousness? Eternal consciousness is God. So to connect to eternal source. And it says here, and the Mitzrayim shall know, it says, but Pharaoh will not heed you. So already God made his heart hard, because God said that the Mitzrayim, the Egyptians shall know that I am. Let's stop here. I am Yahweh when I stretch out my hand on Mitzrayim and bring out the... Now we've got to be very careful here, because you can argue about, it says Yahweh, it says this, it says Jehovah, it says Jehovah. We could be here all day arguing, and some people do that. It's foolishness, by the way. Foolishness to argue. This is why you will never see me arguing about this particular text. And I'm gonna have to search for my Hebrew Bible, because my laptop was gone for repair. Just came back, and all my references are upside down here with my different Bibles. So let me now scan for my Hebrew Bible, and I lost track to that one. So I'm going to reference it in my laptop otherwise. Give me a moment, please, because I think it may be pertinent that I give you something from that. Okay, let's see. Can I reference it here? I probably can. And let me fire it up. Let's see. I haven't got the reader. Okay, no problem. Let me fire it up in another reader. Do I have another reader? Probably don't. More apps. Okay, so what am I trying to say? Okay, so what I'm trying to say is, I'll be here forever trying to look for those passages. Okay, give me a second. I'm going to have to find them. Genesis 41. Let's move forward to Exodus 7. Okay, where are we? Okay, I'm going to have to do a few clicks fast till we get there. Okay, we're not quite reached. Okay, you're going to bear with me a little bit, and if I can find it, then I can speak about it. I've got up to Exodus 4, Exodus 5, 6, and we're almost there. 6. 7. Okay, so let me come back to Exodus 7. And it says here, and I will harden the heart and multiply my signs and wonders. This is verse 3, Exodus 7:3. So, and it says, I will harden Pharaoh's heart, which in the Hebrew is, remember I was talking to you that God could use a word for I, it could be ani, used in Hebrew, or anochi. So here it says, Ve ani, akshiat, leb, Pharaoh. In other words, I will, or I am going to harden Pharaoh's heart. So I'm only going to speak about the bits within there, which are important. So the first bit, Ve ani, akshiat, leb, Pharaoh. So God is going to harden. It's kind of, if I literally translate it, may not make sense, but I'll translate it in nearest grammatical correct translation. And I am going to, or I will harden Pharaoh's heart. And then it says it's going to multiply signs and wonders, etc. So important bit there is what's doing it. You see, he says, I am going to do it, right? And then let me go back to the Hidden Truths, Hebraic Scrolls, and cross-reference that. And verse 5, I want to go back to verse 5. Verse 5 is, which says, Ve yadu Mitzrayim ki ani, again, Ve yadu Mitzrayim ki ani Yahweh. Okay, so up to there it says, and the Egyptians shall know that I am. In your Bibles it might say the Lord. This one literally will read, I am Yahweh, or I am Yud-Heh-Wah-Heh. I think it would be more correct to say, and the Egyptians shall know that I am Yud-Heh-Wah-Heh. Okay, what does that mean, Yud-Heh-Wah-Heh? Okay, so let's look at the actual reference to what it means. I think that might be helpful. And so what it means is that Yud-Heh-Wah-Heh, in other words, I am that I am. I am that I am. Well, so is God saying I am that I am? Yes, technically he is saying that. He is saying that. I am that I am. So here you got to see what is being said and what is being communicated, and a lot of the time it gets missed in translations and in dogma, and we need to kind of be very careful, because we'll not get anything out of it if kind of stuck to dogma. Here it says, and the Egyptians shall know that I am that I am. Okay, because that's what Yahweh's terminology means, right? Yud-Heh-Wah-Heh means I am that I am. Technically, from the basic interpretation, I'm not going to go into the other esoteric interpretations, but basic interpretation means, and the Egyptians shall know that I am that I am. Okay, so do you see what just happened there? God declared himself 3 times using I am that I am. I am has been used there 3 times in 2 different formats. One format is ani or ani, and the second format is Yud-Heh-Wah-Heh, which also, when we saw the first one said to us that this will be my name forever. And he said, Ahiyeh, Ashar, Ahiyeh. This will be my name forever, in that first one. Here what he's saying is exactly the same, but he's using two of those characters or syllables, 1 syllable or 2 syllables, but not the entire. He's not saying Ahiyeh this time, he's saying Yud-Heh-Wah-Heh. So let's not look at this as a name. All of you that will look at this as a name will never get anywhere, because this is not a name per se as we understand it. This is the power of the eternal God that we serve, the eternal I am. This is the power behind it, what I call super consciousness. So in order to get to this super consciousness, you got to understand the attribute's meaning. It's an attribute, and it's also a title, and it's also what we call the Shem. Shem in Hebrew meaning not just name, it means the glory, the personification, the representation, the respect, the everything that you associate with a person. Like you might see a car. Let me give you a simple example. You might see a car, and it's let's just say it's a Ford truck. Okay, you see a Ford truck. and you see the Ford truck and you say, hey, this Ford truck, it's got nice, rimmed wheels, it's got a sports steering, and it's got this beautiful gear stick, and it's got nitrogen in its tires. So those are all attributes of the Ford truck. Now Ford, Ford is a name of a company, and then a truck will be whatever that model is a truck. So in this particular scenario, you got to, when we read Elohim, or when we read Eloha, or when we read El, it's God. In other words, the translation is God, or power, or mighty one, or mighty ones. So in this particular way, when it says Yud-He-Wah-He, the problem is most people can't get from A to B, they are stuck with the name. I'm telling you, don't get stuck with the name. Because if you're going to be arguing about translation, transliteration, pronunciation, it's a totally, you're going to go lead astray, totally the wrong way. This is why we never talk about it, we never argue about it, we never discuss it, how to pronounce a name, because it's pronounced many different ways. But what's important behind it is the Shem. In other words, the Shem meaning the power behind it, the influence behind it, the respect behind it, the resonance behind it. So all of those things matter. Now if I said to you, this is God, and God has alloy wheels, and God has a spear in his hand that he fires, and God has these things, that his arrows on his back, that he can fire each arrow and hit the spot bullseye every time. So these will be like attributes of God. But the whole thing, like, imagine a warrior. So this whole thing will be a warrior. So if you actually just speak about, how to pronounce a name, pronounce it this, or pronounce it that, all you're going to do is you're wasting the actual essence of what we know to be the eternal substance that we today may call God. So I will always say that be circumspect about knowing the true I am, because this will help you the most in your lives, the I am. Don't focus on so much, I've got to pronounce it which way. Don't worry about the pronunciations. They're not important any particular way. Doesn't matter who says it. So here is the essence that's spoken about, that in Mitzrayim the Egyptians shall know the respect that he is, the eternal I am. So in other words, it says, shall know that I am that I am. In other words, exactly the same thing that God had told Moses. When you translate the Yud-He-Wah-He back to his essence, it says, and the Egyptians shall know that I am the superconsciousness. That I am the superconsciousness. That is, of course, the eternal source. So it says, when I stretch out my hand on the Egyptians and bring out the children of Israel from among them. So of course God then revealed miracles, things that we call miracles, but things like shifting time, and shifting energy, and shifting and making animals behave in a way that, creatures behave in a way that don't behave. So we see in verse 2, it says, if you refuse to let them go, behold, I will smite all your territory with frogs, and the river shall bring forth frogs abundantly. Now notice the word abundantly over here. So everything that God does is abundantly. It's not God's going to send you 100 frogs, and God sends 100 frogs. No, abundantly, unlimited frogs. We shall go up and come into your bath, into your house, into your bedroom, on your bed, into your house of your servants, etc., etc., and on it goes, into your ovens, into your kneading bowls, and into everything that you use for cooking. And the frogs shall come up on you, on your people, and shall on your servants. Then Yud-He-Wah-He, wherever you see the Yud-He-Wah-He, then translate that into, then I am that I am spoke to Moshe, saying, by Aaron, stretch out your hand with your rod over the streams, over the rivers, and over the ponds, and cause frogs to come up. So this miracle, by the way, I believe this is the first miracle, if I'm not mistaken. This first miracle was done by Aaron. It says, and Aaron stretched out his hand over the Ma'im of Mitzrayim, or the waters of Mitzrayim, and the frogs came up and covered the land of Mitzrayim. Notice what Aaron did. Stretched out his hand. It says, stretch out your hand with your rod. In other words, he had a staff in his hand, and he stretched it out. And the magicians did so, and with their enchantments, and brought out frogs on the land of Mitzrayim. So the magicians also did some magic, and they were able to replicate this miracle, not exactly entirely the same, but they were able to replicate some of it and bring up frogs. Not, of course, unlimited frogs, but they brought some. And that gave relief to Pharaoh. Oh, okay, my magicians can do this as well. Oh, this is just a trick. Okay? And then it says that after that, what does Moses say in verse 9? Listen to what I'm telling you. It's very important. It says, verse 9, and Moshe said to Pharaoh, accept the respect of saying, when I shall intercede for you. Now let me just go to the KJV. This is why I'm saying that if I start speaking about the name, my goodness, we'll be here all day. There's so much in it. Verse 9. Verse 9 in KJV says, when Pharaoh shall speak unto you, saying, show a miracle for you. Okay, this is probably not Exodus chapter 7, verse 9. Where are we? Sorry, we're in Exodus 8 and verse 9. 8 and verse 9. Let's go back to that 8 verse 9. So on the KJV 8 verse 9, and Moses said unto Pharaoh, glory over me. See now, do you see now the differences of the translation? And Moses said unto Pharaoh, glory unto me, but actually the word there is not for glory, it's for respect. Okay? So again translations, and Pe'ar should be translated here respect, as is correctly done so in the Hidden Truths of Break Scrolls. It says accept the respect of saying. Why does it say accept the respect? Okay, glory is, if you want to translate it glory, that's fine too. Why? Because here it's not saying, hey, know that this is Yahweh. It's not saying that. It's saying, hey, respect the name, respect the character, respect the super consciousness that you're seeing. That's what's being said. And it says, when I shall intercede for you. Moses is saying, when I shall intercede for you, for your servants and for your people, to destroy the frogs from you and your houses, that they may remain in the river only. And he said, tomorrow, and he said, let it be according to your word. So Moses, when he prayed back, he lifted up his voice, and the frogs actually died on the land, by the way. Not all of them went back into the river. Many of them died on the land. So, because it says in verse 12, then Moses and Aaron went out from Pharaoh, and Moses called out to, now remember I told you to read. Don't read just like Yahweh. Read, I am that I am. And Moses called out to, I am that I am, concerning the frogs which he had brought against Pharaoh. And he says, and Yahweh, or I am that I am, did according to the word of Moses, and frogs died out of the houses, out of the courtyards, and out of the field. In other words, those frogs were killed. Not all the frogs went back to the water, as most people think. So, and they gathered them together in heaps, and the land smelled bad. But when Pharaoh saw that there was relief, he hardened his heart and did not heed them, as Yahweh had said. So then comes the second miracle. Guess who does the second miracle? Aaron again. And they did so, for Aaron stretched out his hand with his rod, and struck the dust of the ground, and it became lice on man. And beast of all the dust of the land became lice throughout all the land of Mitzrayim. Now the magicians so worked with their enchantments to bring forth lice, but they could not so. There was lice on man. But they could not. So there was lice on man and beast. And the magician said to Pharaoh, this is the finger of God, finger of Elohim. And Pharaoh's heart grew hard and did not heed them, just as Yahweh had said. And Yahweh said to Moses, rise early in the morning. Stop here. Rise early. Remember I told you last week, rise up early and write your goals, dreams and desires down. Why did I tell you this? Because says it in this text. Rise up early. What's early? Dawn. Rise up at dawn, start writing. Start your imaginations at that time. Start doing your work in the day. That is the most powerful time of the day. And it says, and stand before Pharaoh. Who is Pharaoh in this particular instance? You might say, hey, Pharaoh is just another person. No, here Pharaoh is your obstructor. Could be Hasatan. Could be the angel that obstructs, Satan that obstructs, Satan that puts doubts in your head and says, hey, you can't have this. You don't deserve it. By the way, that is not some angel coming with a spear in his hand. That is actually your own self. Within yourself, because Satan also communicates to you, listen to this now, through your consciousness. Through those doubts, those mischiefs, those, things that given to you that you suddenly think that you can't do is because Satan communicates through your consciousness. And when Satan communicates through your consciousness, then you will not be able to achieve that, what you're desiring. So when I said, I was very particular, I didn't explain it all, but last week, and I was very particular that in the morning, try to get up at 5 o'clock. Good time. And even a little bit earlier if you can. And if you can get up at 5 in the morning, then you should have your notepads on the ready. Boil your kettles later. Have your notepads ready, and you should start writing your top goals. Your top 3 goals or your top 10 goals, whatever you're desiring, write it down. Somebody said to me the other day, I want to have a house. And I said to them, of course you can, of course, house no problem. Put it down in writing and see it happening in real time. Remember what I told you. Always, always, always. Now, here, I'm going to tell you one thing. That if you speak to law of attraction teachers, and there are many good teachers out there, law of attraction teachers. If you speak to law of attraction teachers, they will tell you to visualize, and they will tell you to, hey, okay, you want a house? Okay, they'll say, do it this way. See what kind of house you want. And then they'll say, now you visualize, you're going to go to the estate agent. You're going to say, I want to buy this house. You're going to wear a particular dress. You're going to go in a particular car. And then you're going to get there and you're going to shake their hands. And you're going to hand them a check. And you're going to then going to take the keys from them and enter the. Basically, this is systematic. It's systematic. So the law of attraction teachers will teach you systematic process to get there. By the way, it takes way too long to do that. And it doesn't work for all people. Okay, notice what I said. It doesn't work for all people. It takes way too long to do that. What is the correct way to do it? The correct way to do it is to use a perfect law that James spoke about, that Jesus spoke about. How do you work that law? I explained it to many videos, many references and teachings before. You see the end product. If I want to eat cauliflower, I don't see myself going to Walmart, driving in my little car, big car, and going to Walmart in my Mercedes and buying the cauliflower and bringing it back and chopping it up in my kitchen and then putting spices in and then eating it. Way too long, way too many details. Don't need any of those details. What do I see the end result? End result, I want to eat cauliflower. End result, I'm sitting on my table. I've got the cauliflower already cooked and in a plate, and I'm enjoying the flavor of it. End result only. That is a secret to success. It's a great secret and it's a great success ahead. So when you want a house, you don't see all those 15,000 steps to get the house. No, only one step. Only one step is needed. You are in that house that you desire. You are sleeping in it, and you are cooking in it, and you're going to bathroom in it. That's the only thing you need to see. Exactly, Rabbi Kefa. You're in the house now. You're not going to be, go to the agent and pay the check, go to the bank. This is what the LOA teaches you. But I'm teaching you, no. That will have you forever just doing affirmations, and maybe you'll never get there, and maybe you will get there. So this is where a lot of people fail, because the LOA, it works differently. But the perfect law never fails. Never fails. So you're going to have to see the end result. Well, absolutely, Yemisia. If Yemisia, you've been listening to all the teachings, and the only reason that you haven't achieved right now what you want, because you haven't seen the end result. That's your fault, not mine, by the way. And if I teach you how to do it, you need to practice it. What you need to see with you is walking in the park. That's your end result. You see yourself walking in the park. You see yourself running in the park. End result. You're no longer in a wheelchair. As long as your mind keeps telling you, oh, I got a wheelchair under me, you will never walk. Because that's your LOA. Systematic. Oh, you're in the wheelchair, you do some exercises, you get up, you do physiotherapy, and then suddenly you can walk. No, don't need any of that. Just see yourself, tell yourself your I am, tell your mind, see yourself in your consciousness, in your super consciousness, and see yourself daily until it's cemented. You're walking in the park, unaided. No one needs to support you. You will walk. Even at 84 years old, by the way. I guarantee it. If you put yourself to it, you will walk unaided. But if you continue to to see and doubt. What is doubt? Doubt is Satan. What is doubt? Doubt is Pharaoh, representative Pharaoh. You can't do this. I won't let you do this. I won't let you walk. That is what people call Satan, by the way. Obstructor. Satan simply means one who obstructs. So you need to stop allowing the obstructor to impede you, and you can walk. I'm telling you that you can walk. Now you need to do the rest of the work, and it's not an exercise. You've got a very good functioning brain. You may have some weakness in your legs, but you've got a great functioning brain. Use your brain, use your I am, use your super consciousness, and you can walk. So this is what we are looking at. Absolutely, Rabbi Kefa, you can walk right now if you put yourself to the test. So this is why it's very important that you understand where I'm coming from. I am coming from the point, somebody says to me, I want a house, and I don't give them a lecture about 15 steps to getting a house. That's what you get from most real estate agents, 15 steps to buy a house. Or from LOA, you get about maybe 5-6 steps. For me, 1 step. You're sleeping in the house every day. You're eating in that house every day. That's it. No other steps. You keep doing it. You keep doing it, and it will cement. And when it cements, boom, your house is here. You got your house. That's as simple as that. I have heard many LOA teachers, how they teach people. And this is why I said, some of them are good, some of them are very good, and some of them totally wrong in what they teach. But they won't admit it. But the good ones, I know who the good ones are, and I know who the bad ones are as well. But people just follow them, and many people I've read testimonies of, they don't get what they want. 9 times out of 10, I found that only 1 person succeeds out of 9. Why such a high percentage of failure? Because the application is wrong. That's why. But when you apply the perfect law, the law of assumption, the perfect law, when you apply it to the letter, I guarantee you that you'll never fail. You will never fail. I can guarantee you that. And I have not seen failure. And I want to give a testimony. I want to give a testimony today. I want to give 2 testimonies today. And those 2 testimonies are such that happened with me. I had this family that their house was taken from them. It was kind of taken by a family member. And I was here, sitting in America, 7,000 miles away, and what did I do? I did my magic wand. Yep, I waved my magic wand, and I said, that house is going to come back to you, to your family. That person is going to give you the house back. You know how long it took for that to happen? 2 weeks. Mishpacha, 2 weeks it took for that to happen. Then what happened after that? Then after that, they were still having more issues with that person. He was constantly sending bad people to them. He had a firearm, fired at his own brother and injured his leg, and they were running for cover and all that. Other things going on. What I did at that point? I said, okay, I now need to look at the next step. The house is there. He damaged the house. Now do the next step. What's the next step? I need to remove this person. This person is a pest. He is going to continue to do these things until he's out of the way. So then I put myself to the test, and I said, what I'm going to see is this person is either 2 things. Either he's going to be reconciled or is removed out of the way, one or the other. So I put that out. I put that out to God, to Elohim, to the eternal I am. Put it out. This is what I want. The next to happen. And I didn't hear from this family for 7 weeks. Mishpacha, I didn't hear from them. And I didn't focus on it every day. I focused on it for probably about 1 week. I spent a week focusing on that this is what needs to happen next for this family. And let me tell you, that's exactly what happened. Yesterday I was told by this family that the uncle is leaving the city, going out of the country. And that will be the end of that matter. There'll be peace after that. So that was number 2 testimony. Number 3 testimony. Let me give you the third one. Great testimony. There was a 14-year-old girl over there in the east that they were going to marry to a 23 or 24-year-old man. They had basically decided, her father had died, and her stepfather had decided that he doesn't have the money to continue to feed her and with her sister And so he decided that he was going to marry both sisters at the same time. Now one sister was of course marriageable age, and this sister was not marriageable age. She was only 14. So they said to the pastor that, we want to marry our daughter, and maybe they lied about the age, and maybe the pastor knew, maybe he didn't know. Because sometimes what they do, they marry girls at 16, you're allowed to do that. And the pastors, what they do, they write 18 instead of 16. So in this particular scenario, there was a pastor involved, and I was told this was going to happen. I was like, this is not right, is it? Because the girl is very young, and she's not ready for marriage yet. So it would be unfair on her, unjust, in that, in this world today, she'll have to be responsible for the whole family, because extended family. And I said, she's going to get pregnant at 15. My goodness, what a travesty. And I said, nope, it's not going to happen. I said, okay, I'm not going to say to this woman how it's not going to happen and why and hows and the whys. I said, okay, that's fair enough. This shouldn't happen. I just left it at that. Then I put it in my mind that this woman's marriage is stopped. Put it in my mind there and then, this girl's marriage is stopped. She's not going to get married. And I don't care why and how and where from and what the method is. I just lifted up my hand. I said to God, I said, this marriage is not happening, period. It's not going to happen. You decide which way it's not going to happen. I'm going to say it's not going to happen. And whether the boy's family disagreed and says we're not ready, or whether something else happened. And you know what happened? 3 weeks later, around about 3 weeks later, I spoke to the woman and I said, what was the result of this particular scenario, of this particular woman, this girl that was going to be married? And she said, the marriage has been stopped. Now you're listening? Everybody listening to this? I'm not making these stories up. These things are happening right today in 2019 in March and in the month of February. And the woman said, this marriage is not taking place, Rabbi. They are not marrying her. And I said, what's the reason for the marriage not taking place? She said that I went to one of the pastors and I said to him that, is it right for a girl at 14 to get married these days? And he said, no. And he said, who's getting married at 14? And she said, I told him that such and such family are apparently getting married the girl is getting married at 14. And I don't know who the pastor is, such and such pastor, such and such, city and village. And the pastor said to her that, okay, leave it with me. I will pass the message on within the diocese, within the Christian, within their clergy, and I will make this known that this is not right. This needs to be stopped. And so he passed the message to the diocese within the circle of pastors and bishops, and the news came to this person, and his name happens to be Shimon as well, by the way. The pastor was supposed to marry the girl. Is called Shimon, and basically means Simon. And so what happened, the pastor turned around and he was instructed, this pastor was instructed that you are not to marry this girl, otherwise you will be in a lot of trouble, because this girl is underage. So then the pastor went to the family and said, I'm sorry, I cannot marry your daughter, otherwise I will be in a lot of trouble, she's underage. And so the marriage got stopped. You see now the power of the I am? That's how powerful the I am is if you use it. Or you can just sit there and say, oh, I can't have this and I can't do this and I can't. You can either whine about it all day or you can do something about it. I see a lot of whiners within our people, by the way. And this is not something new. We had whiners in our people back then in Moses' time. Whiners, complainers, detractors, and those who were against Moses and Aaron and other people that wanted to do good. We had those people at that time as well. Nothing new under the sun. It's not any different in 2019. We're going to have our whiners and complainers, and we're going to have our doers. I want you to do. I don't want you to whine about it. And I've demonstrated 3 examples to you that have occurred. 3 examples that have occurred in my life in a short space of time. And real lives have been changed. Real lives. Not, make-believe book stories. So you need to take these things very seriously. Rabbi Kefa was speaking to me, and Rabbi Kefa will speak for himself later, that he will tell you the infinite abundance that's coming into his life. And I'll let him explain that to you. So having said that, do not think for a second that the words of Yeshua, Jesus of Nazareth, went missed. Don't ever treat those words as some airy-fairy titles. Oh, he said, I am the light of the world. How great, he said in John chapter 8. And so therefore he is the light, blah, blah, blah. No, Jesus is not just the light. You are connected to the light. He said you are the light as well. Are you ready? The question is, are you ready to take that light on? And if you are ready to take that light on, then you have it in you. See, a lot of people today are still stuck in religion, because people are still arguing about, is Yahweh the name from, ancient Canaanite religions? And I had a student who wrote to me and said to me there was some book that speaks about the Canaanite religions and Yahweh and Yahweh's and the gods and the goddesses. And basically mentioned Yahweh and the other goddesses like Asherah and Asheroth, etc. And I said, yeah, I don't know about this book, but I know all about the Canaanite religions. And so anyway, my point is that you can either be stuck in ancient history about the gods and goddesses, not going to get anywhere with it, there's nothing in there, or you can connect to the infinite source. What do you want to do? Do you want to connect to ancient religion, or do you want to connect to ancient infinite source, the source of everything, the eternal I am? So I would entreat you that connect to the eternal source. Forget about this, what ancient religions existed and why they, exactly that, Vayikra. Why are you living in the past? This is exactly what I was going to say to this brother, that why you want to live in the past? Live in the present. So my point is that don't go around, just living in the past. So, I think I've spoken enough. And I'm more than happy to explain more if need be. And you heard Yael, a woman of the tent earlier, give you a testimony that she had great things happening in her life this past few days, and she was able to bring forth money, and she was able to bring forth blessings in her life, and much more is to come, by the way. Much more is to come yet. This is only the beginning. So this is not the end, this is not the middle even, it's the beginning. So much more will come. Use the methods that you've been taught, and you will do great works. Oh, and a phone as well. Yeah, I know. And Yael got a new phone as well, by the way. Baruch Hashem for that. So, and that was one of her goals. So her goal was met. And I know somebody else, thousands of miles away, who had a goal to get a Note 9 phone. Listen to this now. Another testimony. That person's not in the room, and they hardly come into the room. But that person has told me that they are getting a Note 9. That's one of their goals. And they've been looking at that perfect law, and they've been doing this probably not very long time. I don't think that person's been doing that a very long time. But maybe I'd say a week, 6 weeks, maybe at most. And they're getting a Note 9 phone. Okay? So they got an iPhone before that, and they didn't like the iPhone. Getting rid of the iPhone and getting Note 9 instead. They're very disappointed by the iPhone, by the way. And that's where we are with that particular testimony. So there are many testimonies, and I encourage you all to bring the testimonies. And remember the secret. The secret is look at the end dish. Don't look at the spices, which spices to put and how long to cook. No. Look at the end dish. Enjoy the end dish. That is the secret to success. And if you're not sure still, go hear all my lectures in the previous 8 weeks that me and Rabbi Kefa gave, and you will do well to learn why you've been given particular methods to success. And especially last week's lesson, I think, is very important in the scheme of things, is you need to write things down. And you can't have them everybody's not the same. Everybody's not going to produce results in 2 weeks. So don't take that to like a timeline. Everybody is different and unique. There is only one you. And you will produce results in your own personal time. That might be 2 weeks for some. It might be 6 weeks for another. Or it might be 10 months for another. Different times, different results. It depends on you. How dedicated are you to your desires, wants, And to remove the sins in your life. In other words, what is sin? Didn't meet my desires. Living in sin. Don't live in sin. Live in gratitude of God. Live in abundance, and you will receive abundance, because God is a God of abundance. When God sent the frogs, He didn't send a few, He sent abundance of frogs. So when He sends the abundance your way, He's not going to send a little bit abundance. Abundance is abundance. You Israel, were created for abundance. You will never lack. You are never meant to lack. And if you lack, then the problem is in your side, not in God's side, that God didn't do His part right, or I didn't go to church and did this prayer, or I didn't wave this cross this way. No, the problem is yours. It could be that you're at the wrong place. So, you can always connect back with us. With myself, Rabbi Kefa, I'm able to assist you any particular way. But the problem is yours. It's not Jesus' problem. Jesus didn't do something right and you couldn't get it. Always the problem is at your end. You need to know how to do it. And people like me, Rabbi Kefa, will teach you, because they will change everything that you know. They will change the whole thing. Okay? With that, I'm going to pass the mic on to Rabbi Kefa, and it is cold, sunny Ohio, with a little bit snow happening. I think the snow, it was snowing last night a little bit, didn't settle too much, but I'm enjoying the slightly colder weather over here as well. So Baruch Hashem, Master Yehoshua, for His great mercies, great abundance in our lives. I'm very, very grateful. And thank you for coming into the room, listening, and thank you to those who are listening on the internet. And those of you who are not live with us, I wish you all a great Sabbath, a great, beautiful, abundant week ahead. And, soar high like the eagles that we are, that Yahweh has made us like eagles to soar high. One of the symbols of Israel is an eagle, by the way. We are in the land of the eagle as well. America's symbol is eagle too. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Toda Rabba. Over to you, Rabbi Kefa.
Yes, Adam HaKohin, and Shabbat Shalom to you over there, and the land of the snowman, Ohio. I tell you, I can only imagine. Imagine snow down here in San Antonio, Texas. It's an imagination, because we have a slightly different climate, which makes this continent here in North America a great place of exile. For me personally, I really do like where the God of Israel has placed me and scattered me in the nations to do great things for this nation, to uplift this nation, to aid the nation that we're in. How many of you understand that as well? Is that we're not here to run down our nations that we've been placed in, but we're here to be productive citizens, to do great things, to be inventors, to be creators. How many of you understand that? You're supposed to aid your country. You're supposed to be a great benefit to your country. This is truly one of the aspects of allowing your light to shine in the nation that you're in. It's a beautiful thing when you can really understand your true purpose in life. How many of you understand? And maybe your whole life you've been seeking purpose. You sought it in many forms. You sought it through a woman. You sought it through a man. You sought it in material things. You sought it in education and knowledge. And listen, I'm not downgrading any of those things. All of those things that I just named off, itemized list things, are things that you can have. Things that there's nothing wrong with any of those things. But priority and perspective is key, and foundation is key. And truly, I'd like to say this before I go any further, because for those of you who may have come in late, if you want to purchase the Hidden Truth We Break Scrolls, the complete edition, I think they pulled it on Amazon now, if I'm not mistaken. I heard our Cody said that they did pull it already. So if you're looking for the complete edition of the Hidden Truth We Break Scrolls, you can go to lulu.com, and you can purchase it there. For those of you who are listening via YouTube or any other aspect of the internet and the high-speed 5G, 4G internet that's out there this day, you can purchase it there. You live as well. kind of want to steer clear of purchasing any, and you can't right now anyway from Amazon, which is great, until they remedy their situation over there. Because I did, one guy did send us a picture of how the Truth Break scrolls are being formatted and put together there, and Amazon is not, it's not good. So they're going to work on it and fix their problem, the so-called problem. They're going to remedy it and give you a solution and put out the best quality like they've always been doing. I have no problems with Amazon. I have no problems with Jeff Bezos. I love them both very much. How many of you in this room use Amazon? I mean, yeah, Amazon is a great method. I'm very happy. I'm very happy and give great success. I'm very happy for Jeff Bezos being the richest man in the world. That makes me, and for me to be able to circulate and assist him being the richest man in the world. Hey, he puts out great products. He has a great brand. And to offer your responses, by the way, for those of you who do use Amazon, I mean, he has a great brand. Why do we hate on the brands? I was dealing with this African man from Ghana having discussions. Good man. I consider him a friend. He's a good man. He's African from Ghana. He understands a lot about who the true chosen Jews are, and he understands when he talks to me, he's talking to a child of God. The Jews, and we're having great discussions. But one thing that he says, and he notes with his own people as Africans, he notes this with his own people. He told me, he said, this is one thing about our people is that they get jealous. He says that the African people, they get jealous and they can't come together. They cannot seem to come together and as a unit. There always has to be animosity. You always have to be hating on this person because he has more money than you have, or he says in his country, Ghana, he says everybody runs after titles. He said, but there's no substance behind the title. Everybody wants to be called, well, yes, I'm a bank manager. But there's no substance behind the bank manager because he's making less money than the trash man that's picking up trash on the street or collecting bottles on the road. I mean, what good is a title if there's no substance behind it? You know what I mean? So he was talking about this. I said, that's a good point. That's a good point, and it's a relevant point because there's a lot of people running after a so-called life and they're not even living. And it's not only amongst the Africans, but you can look world over. There's a lot of people that, they have this great gift of life, but they're truly not using it. They're not utilizing it. They're actually like the walking dead. My daughter is a big fan of zombies. She likes zombies. And so I sort of see it like these zombie creatures. You're walking and you're animated, but there's nothing to you. There's no substance. No substance whatsoever. So I can tell you, when you go back to your default mode, your I am, the person, the makeup of that's within you, then you're literally going back to substance. You're going back to super substance. You're going back to consciousness. You're going back to who you really are, to your I am mode, to your default setting as a creator and a creation of the Creator, created in the images of God. My goodness. You go back, there's substance behind that. I'll give you a couple of testimonies on my part. I'll tell you this, I've been writing script. I've been literally writing script and then writing script. You see, there's a difference between being alive and then being alive. To have life and to have life is a big difference in that. I'll tell you this, I'm writing script, and so I look at my daughter and her father have a very bad situation. Their situation was bad when I first met them. He wasn't in their life whatsoever. At least her life. He'd show up once a year. I think I told you that. So I began to write scripts like I couldn't talk about. He began to, in his mind, in his imagination, he began to put things together and piece the puzzle together the way he wanted it. And this is what all of you need to understand. You can begin to create. You can begin, I won't say create, but manifest and bring it forth. Because the creation is already there. You just have to bring it forward. That new house is already there for you. You just have to bring it forward. You just have to, Rabbi Vayikra is in the room, he'll tell you, you just got to reel that fish in. You got to reel it in. You see? All you have to do is put the pieces to the puzzle. You have to put it together the way you want it. because it's already there for you. You just have to put it together the way you want it. And it may seem kind of foreign to your brain. Your mind may think you're crazy, but so what? The mind will come into alignment, don't worry. But you just begin to use your imagination and put it together and write the script the way you want it, exactly how you want it. You put those pieces of the puzzle and you create the way you want it. When you can begin to do that, my goodness, I guess that's why it's still a franchise, right? Because Burger King says what? You have it your way. I hope I'm giving it the right franchise. I think that's their mantra, right? Isn't it, Burger King? Don't they say that you can have it your way? And the same thing I'm telling you this day. You can have it your way. You just must begin to script it. You see, too many times we settle for the way it is. And the way it is not the way it really is. But it's the way your brain tells you, oh, your mind tells you, okay, this is just the way it is. There's nothing you can do to change. You see, if you're here for religion, you're in the wrong place. You're here to get life. You're here to get that life and an abundance of a life. And that life, it's not even life. It's not life. It's beyond life. Because the Master Yeshua told us is that truly, if you want to live, that you're going to have to get rid of your life. You're going to have to reject life. You're going to have to reject life for eternity. For infinite. You see, life, you know, the way your brain will tell you, life is just, it stops. There's a beginning and an end, right? When your brain tries to tell you to comprehend life, it's, okay, you start somewhere and then you finish. On the medical side, my colleagues will tell me, yeah, life is from birth to death. You see what I mean? So you've been conditioned to think of life that it has a beginning point and a full stop and an ending point. You see? And I like to say this because I've been watching a lot of the UK governance and the way that Britain runs their government. And I like the way they're very formal. And I appreciate how Kohen giving way to me. I just had to put that out there. I said, man, this Shabbat, I'm going to say that. Yeah, I appreciate you, how Kohen giving way. they say that, and I tell you, they're so formal. I really like the way the government of the UK is run. And I got to watch that this week. I got to see the nuances of their government and how their parliament works and stuff. It's real interesting. I'd encourage you to watch that. It's real interesting. And there's such gentlemen and such gentlewomen that say, oh yeah, I give way to the gentlewoman, or I give way to the gentleman, to the fine colleague, and it's all uplifting. They're not sitting there tearing people down, even though, I tell you, I think in the East, they understand how to debate. You know what I mean? And they do it in such a way to where you can agree to disagree, but at the end of the day, you can be friends and you can be cordial, and you can all just get along. And at the end of the day, you're human beings. My goodness, for goodness sake, you know. So I thank the Honorable Kohen for giving way. I want to say that, for giving way. So back to the point, and back to our point of note now, is that the point is that you can write your script. You can imagine how you want things to happen. I was like, hold up, wait a minute. My daughter's over here calling me dad and having a high respect. Cody talked about that. Having a high respect for me as calling me dad and father. And I was like, hold on, wait a minute. Let's rewrite this script. I have a problem doing that, her doing that. I found that kind of, humbling. But I was like, wait a minute. She has a father. I was like, wait a minute. I'm going to write a script that I'm going to mend their relationship. I'm going to mend their relationship. I'm going to put their relationship back together, back to a daughter-father relationship like it needs to be. She needs to understand she has a father that really does love her. You know, I began to write the script. I said, okay, this is how it's going to happen. So, like I told you before, when she was in China, her father never even spent any time with her. She didn't even exist in his eyes, really. Come from his loins, but she didn't exist. She only saw her father as like an ATM, and that's it. Nothing else. No substance to them. Just a ATM. Dad, I need money for this. Okay, that's it. No connection. Maybe only saw once a year. Maybe physically visit once a year to see his daughter. I mean, see your 14-year-old daughter once a year. I mean, what is that? Living in the same country, sometimes in the same city, sometimes not. So I said, you know what? I'm going to rewrite this script. And so I began to rewrite the script, and I began to tell my daughter, every day I want you to talk to your father. Before you talk to me, you talk to your father. Send him a text. Well, Dad, I'm going to do that, but he won't take me back. So what? You write this script. She's learning about writing script as well. So what? Who cares about the axillary? Who cares about what other people are going to do? It doesn't matter what happened outside of you. What matters is what happens inside of you. Think about it. You are changed. You are abundant infinitely. That's in you. Too many times we worry about what other people are going to think, or what other people are going to say, or what they're not going to do, and then what they're not going to say. Who cares? Who gives a flying flute? None of you should care. But that's our concern. And then we're overwhelmed by that. And then that becomes our obstacle from doing what we have to do within ourselves to truly make ourselves better people. Truly make ourselves that light to the nation. So, purpose, I was and throwing up all kind of probability. So who cares probability? Let's act like our Kohen told you. Son of Aaron said, hey, we got to act. You just have to act. So she began to do it. And then my wife got on board. My wife, and I said, well, how do you need to make sure every day that my daughter is texting her dad. Every day. I don't care if it's just one sentence. But her father needs to realize that as much as he wants to put her out of his life, she's going to be in his life every day. Because, you don't see a Chinese person won't separate from their phone. Let me just put it out there like that. And I won't just say Chinese people, because I'm pretty sure it's in all the other nationalities as well. But I'm telling you, a China man, a China woman and their phone, they're inseparable. So he'll always have his phone. So I began to write the script. Okay, every day you take your father, every day. And my wife got on board. You know what she said? She said, before my daughter can take lunch, I asked her if I look at her phone and say, you don't eat lunch until you text your father. I'm going to make sure you do it. I was like, wow, good for him. I didn't tell her to do that, but she got on board quick. She's writing the script as well. And this has been going on for about 2 months now. Writing the script, writing the script, writing the script every day. Some days I ask her, did you text your father? Text your father? Oh, yeah, text your father. Most of the time, no reply, but now the father started to reply. Maybe at first it was just an emoji. I mean, that starts somewhere, right? Emoji. Just an emoji. Now there's sentences. And then guess what? Now, for the man, the father of a daughter who never wanted to visit or see her, he's coming to America to see her. Here, he's coming to San Antonio, Texas to see his daughter. Write the script, Mishpachah. Write the script. They're living in the same country before. He would never even go see his daughter. Now he's traveling thousands of miles away to come see his daughter in America. Spend time with his daughter. Isn't that a beautiful thing? Write the script. I wrote the script, and I'm going to continue to write the script. Imagine, put the pieces of the puzzle together just like you want them. Just like you want. Did the same thing for my wife's pregnancy. See, my wife sometimes likes to live in the past. She said, well, my first pregnancy was this, and this went wrong, and I had this. I said, no. This is a new day, new pregnancy. I said, we're going to write the script. Oh, my first pregnancy, the first 3 months, all I did was vomit all the time. I couldn't hold food down. You know, Mishpachah, she had vomited one time this pregnancy. Because I wrote the script. Wrote the script. Oh, my first pregnancy, I wasn't able to cook and clean, and I couldn't move around, and I was always nauseous. Well, I wrote the script. You're going to be able to still cook and clean and do whatever you want to do. You're going to have an uneventful pregnancy. A pregnancy of peace, a pregnancy of love, and a pregnancy of joy. I'm writing the script now. And guess what's happening? That exact same thing. Went to the first sonogram. He said, "Oh, we noticed that there's this blood. It's common, but there's still blood hanging around the sac here, and I'm a little concerned about that." Doctor saying this. I said, "Don't worry, doc." I said, "When do you want us to come back in here and look at another sonogram? Because the next sonogram is not going to be there anymore. It's going to be gone." She said, "Well, I don't know. Sometimes, the body doesn't dissolve this blood type situation. It can cause problems and blah, blah, blah." I said, "Doc, when are we going to do the next sonogram? Because when we come for the next one, it's going to be gone. It's not going to be there. Tomorrow, the baby's going to be fine. The baby's fine. Everything's great." She said, "Okay, well, come back in 2 weeks. We just did the sonogram last Friday. Sonogram, baby's in there fine, jumping up and down, doing kung fu kicks, and sitting and lounging in the lounge chair there. Everything's forming. You see, you have to write the script. I could have said this, and you do you not hear this all the time? The doctor said that, this and this is going to happen, and this, and this is the way it's going to happen. And guess what? If you believe what the doctor said, you wrote the script according to what other people are telling you. You don't have to do it that way. You don't. Miss Mahab, write your script. Yael Woman said, "I'm not a doctor." Yes, I'm not a doctor. I didn't stay at Holiday Inn last night, and I don't proclaim to be a doctor. Don't want to be one. That's not a part of my script. I don't want to be a doctor. You have the ability to be and do and control. It's within you. Don't look at outside forces. Because once you begin to entertain the outside forces, this is when your life becomes a muck, and you get the stumbling blocks come up, and there's stop signs, and then there's caution signs, and then there's warning Will Robinson signs coming up all over the place, and then you can never get 2 steps ahead, and you're always taking 10 steps backwards. And last time I checked, 10 steps backwards, that's not abundance. That's not a life of abundance. That's not a life of infinite abundance. Taking 10 steps backwards. No way. No how. No how, no way. I mean, you're here to live a life, and you want to live a life that's more abundant here on this beautiful earth. That's not going anywhere, by the way. And they're trying to get you all this fear factor. Oh, the earth coming to an end, and global warming, this and that and the other. That's a bunch of mumbo jumbo. The earth is not going anywhere. People are, but the earth won't. The earth will remain, Mishpahah. It's just going through its regular cycles. Just like your blessings, as you wait on your blessings. That's what I'm talking about today, waiting. As you wait on your blessings, they come in cycles and in seasons. But we have a of what wait really is and what wait really means, you see. And a lot of folks, unfortunately, are waiting the wrong way. You're like, Rabbi, I didn't know there was a certain way that you're supposed to wait. Or have a misconstrued understanding of what wait really is. W-A-I-T, that is, not W-E-I-G-H-T. We're not talking about that weight. Well, yeah, Rabbi, I weigh 20 pounds. No, I'm not talking about that kind of weight. So these are things that we must begin to understand. Also, I continue to write the script, and I continue to ground myself daily, and I continue to do all these necessary things. The Master Yeshua, in our Hidden Truth Break Scrolls translation, tells us to be vigilant. I'm going to read that in a minute. How many of you understand or even know this, that wait and vigilance are synonymous? But that's not what your brain will tell you. Your brain will tell you, your mind will tell you, wait is something totally different. Yeah, I go to the doctor's office and I wait in the waiting room, and I wait, and I wait. But what do you do when you wait? You see, oh no, Rabbi, I wait. Well, what do you, when you wait? How do you wait? You see? So I continue to write the script, I tell you. And one of the scripts that I'm writing is, I don't know if you know this, but he many years ago introduced me to the Forex. I love the Forex. I love trading currency. I love money, and money loves me. me and money have a friendship, and our friendship will last forever. Money is not an object, but an energy. I love money, man. I'm telling you. I love money. Money loves me back. How many of you, that's your scenario? How many of you, that's what you're writing? Or you say, oh, no, Rabbi, my money is funny, Rabbi. My money funny. Sometimes I have it, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I feel like a nut, and then sometimes I don't, Rabbi. You see? And these are the kind of script that people are writing for themselves every day. So even with the Forex, what a great investment the Forex is. It's a great investment tool if you know what you're doing. If you understand money, if you and money are friends and your friendship will last forever. But I tell you, just writing the script with, because I ground my Forex business. Just like I ground, you need to ground your employment. Ground it. Daily. Ground it. And I ground my Forex business. I ground it. And I tell myself that I'm going to make X amount of dollars every month with the Forex business. And sure enough, now sure as shooting, my goodness, no pun intended, but the Forex business is just blowing up. I circulated some money out of one of my accounts. I told him, Cody, take this money out of this account. The account went down to like $200 when he took the money out. I said, okay. I said, and I scripted it. I said, okay, this account by the end of the week, in that same week, I said, this account will double. And it did. It went from $200 to $455 in 1 week. In 1 week, Mr. Bob. Now there's levels. See, what you must understand with your, as you continue to script things, and that's just one of my Forex accounts. All of my accounts are growing, are multiplying. And I say, Baruch Hashem. And I give thanks. And you know what I did with one of my accounts? I set it aside. One of my Forex accounts, look what I'm scripting now. I set it aside that Forex account is going to pay for the birth of my child. It's being scripted right now as we speak. Well, you say, well, Rabbi, you can't sit there and tell everybody what you're doing, everything. Well, I don't tell y'all everything. And it's not that the fact that, number one, really, it's none of your business. But number two, some of these things you need to see. This stuff, we don't just teach this stuff. Rabbi Simon out the Cody to myself. This is our way of life. We live this stuff. It's in us. It's us. It's our makeup. That's what we are. It's not just what we do, it's what we are as well. So yeah, I'm scripting this one account. It's building and it's building, and it's going to be used. Its purpose is to pay. Its purpose right now is to pay for the birth of my child. Don't pay for it. Then after that, it has other purposes. Because how many of you know babies require diapers and all that other stuff that comes along with it? So I'm even already forecasting, scripting after that. And education and college fund and all of that. Just all wedding. All of that's being scripted by me, the master scripter. I want all of you as well to become master scripters. Write your scripts. Now I would encourage you, keep your script simple at first. And then you know how you build energy, how you build frequency? When your script is fulfilled, my goodness, that it builds your energy meter up. You're like, wow, that one happened, next script up. You know what I mean? You see, for a lot of folks, they start out with these grandiose dreams and thoughts and visions, which there's nothing wrong with it. But how many of you want a vision and a dream fulfilled in a week or in a day? And you see it happen. And you're like, bam, okay. You see, because at the end of the day, Rabbi, you put time constraints. No, I'm not. I'm not, because I'm not a fan of time. The Master Yeshua wasn't a fan of time. You're going to see that today as well. You can't be friends with time. Actually, time is your enemy. You understand what I'm saying? Time is your enemy. Why? It's because you're infinite. You understand? So infinite and time don't go together. They're polar opposites of each other. You know what I mean? Jacob says this, formerly J.B. Yasrael, Chief, Rabbi, and Hakohin. I have a question. When I script, should we write them as having already happened as a request? Oh, absolutely already happened. In the present, just like Hakohin told you. You need to be present, you see. You need to be present. You need to be now. Now. And too many times with wait, people get caught up in the future, which stagnates them. Well, I'm waiting, Rabbi. And I'm still waiting. People this day, and you have family members, friends, and loved ones, right now, they're waiting on Jesus to come back right now. How many of you have that? Just don't let me put the cart before a horse. How many of you know people right now that are waiting right now? They'll say, yeah, I'm waiting on Jesus to return, right? I'm waiting. I'm waiting for Jesus to return, and I'm waiting for Jesus to return. And I can't wait till Jesus returns. And they're waiting. And they're waiting on Jesus. I said, what you going to say? Well, yeah, I'm waiting on Jesus to return. And I'm waiting. What are you doing? How do you wait? Well, I'm waiting. So do you see how the future can hoodwink and bamboozle you out of a great quality of an abundance of a life? Because they sit there waiting. And they're waiting. And they're waiting. Some of you at one time were caught up in the wait mode as well. Where you just wait. You wait. Yeah, I'm waiting on my miracle, I'm waiting on my breakthrough, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting. But what are you doing with yourself? Well, I'm just waiting. So you see how future, if you're not careful, if you don't fully understand, you see how future, just like the past can, future can keep you out of present. Thank you for that question, Jacob, formerly J.B. Yasrael. Because you're right on point with my lecture. Do you see how future can pull you out of present? Just as past can pull you out of present. But when you script, you need to script now. How do you feel now? Well, I had this condition and I hurt my back. No. How is your back now? Your back is fine now. Well, they're telling me I only got 6 months to live. But you're living now, you see. You're living now. That's what you must understand. You're living right now. So as I look at my dream board, as I look at my vision board, this is just how I scripted. I say it just like this. I say my Forex business is I am earning. This is what I say. I don't say I am making, because I don't work at the mint. The only place where you make money is at the mint. I don't work at the mint. I don't make money. I earn it. Say I am earning $10,000 a month with a Forex business now. I am earning $10,000 a month from home with my Forex business now. That's just how I scripted it. Now. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's it, now. Not, oh, well, man, I'm going to get, it's happening now. And every day is now, so it's happening now, you see. Now. My wife and I are having a baby. Now. And this is before my wife was pregnant. We're having a healthy baby now. Healthy baby boy now. Scripted it. And then it happened, you see. Now. My business is the Forex. I have several businesses, not just keyed down to one. Money is my business. trade the currency. Nurse as well. Pediatric nurse, love the babies. You should all be in many businesses now. Now you should be doing that. Do what makes you happy now. Trading the Forex makes me happy now. Providing a service to little children makes me happy now. I love doing these things. Do what you love to do, and love will find you. See, too many times you out searching for love, you never find it. But do what you love to do. How do you find out that? You find out that you have to find that within yourself. That's inner man, baby. Inner woman. You have to find that within yourself, what you love. Some of you say, well, Rabbi, I don't even love myself. Well, see, that's where you have to start. And that's honesty. Some of you may not even love yourself. Some don't even know themselves. And that's a problem when you, as a student of human nature, you're a student of nature. I know you don't go 6 days in your 6 days of labor without seeing, and you can pick it up. You sense it. It's an energy. You can tell when somebody don't love themselves. Because it manifests out physically. How many of you know what I'm talking about? And you look at these people and you're saying to yourself, wow, this is a person that don't love himself. Because look how he's even talking to me. Look how he's handling that next person. Look how he talked to that cash register lady. You can tell, man, this guy doesn't love himself. This woman doesn't love herself. And that's where it starts. Is that you must love yourself. Know yourself. Too many times, you know the biggest distraction? Everything that's taken outside of yourself, outside of what your desires, because your desire is not yours. You don't own it. Today you need to earn your dreams, your visions, your thoughts, your desires. You need to own them. You own it. You write your own stuff. Don't spooge off somebody else's. What good is that? And you wonder why it doesn't work. It's because it's not authentic. I like to watch these crime movie, investigation movies. It says, authenticate, authenticate, authenticate. You see? Authenticate. You want to know why things aren't working in your life right now? It's because they're not authentic. You're taking it from somebody else. You're writing somebody else. You're reading somebody else's script and making it your own. Not to say you can't have the same thing, but there's going to be some unique nuances that you like that makes your authenticity you. What makes you you? And this is what a lot of people don't understand. They're missing the mark. Is that they don't even know themselves, much less love themselves, hadn't took the time to spend time with themselves. To get to understand their inner man, their inner woman, to get to understand their soul. Get to the soul, get to the spirit. Get to the consciousness side. They're too busy running around here unconscious. They're alive, but they're unconscious. If I can make that statement and you can really understand what I mean. Imagine somebody being alive, but yet they're unconscious. Yet there's loads of people walking the face of this earth in that very same condition. They're alive, but they're unconscious. I want you to be conscious and alive. And the Master Yeshua said it in these words. Let me tell you how he said it. Matthew chapter 16, verse 26. For what profit is it? For what is a man profited if he gain the whole world and lose his soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? Now, the Master Yeshua, pray tell, Master Jesus of Nazareth, is not telling you, oh, gain is bad in the world. You see, many religions will take that and tell you, oh, well, brother, it's saying there, brother, that we're not supposed to gain because Jesus said don't gain. No, but what Jesus is trying to explain to you, Master Yeshua, is perspective. Put things in order. You deal with the soul, you gain for infinity. You deal with your mind and you deal with self, fulfilling desires and gain material wealth, and you don't recognize your soul, your spirit man, your I am within you, then truly you lose. But once you realize your inner man, you gain. It's an eternal gain, an infinite gain. Not a finite gain, but an infinite gain. What good is it for you to, what profited a man that he gained the whole world, but he lose his soul? Yet how many of you know is that right now is the script of a lot of people that you know. Their whole main focus is to gain the world. But in the process, they never deal with the I am. They never find themselves. That narrow road. Because they're too busy on the broad way. This is why it's so important that you understand yourself. You know yourself. If you begin to love yourself, you begin to script self. Well, you might be saying, Rabbi, I'm looking into my inner self and there's nothing there. That's great. You're working with a clean slate. That's awesome. Because now you can write the script for yourself. You can write, and you can begin to write you begin to understand what you like, and you begin to imagine and dream, have healthy dreams, healthy imaginations. These are good things, by the way. And then these things will begin to reflect on your outward side, the manifestation in a physical presentation. This is why I look at folks, and I'm telling you, they're angry birds. They're cussing the birds. They're cussing the worms. They're cussing down the sun and the moon. And you're like, wow, you really don't love yourself, do you? Because they're too busy running after things that they're trying to gain the world. And in the process, they're trying to profit by gaining the world, but in the process, their soul suffers. But when you find that I am within you, when you find out who you really are as this superhuman being, and you get into consciousness and then into super consciousness, like this super consciousness, super duper consciousness that you came from, being created in the images of God. Come on, man. It's not by happenstance that the son of Aaron is bringing you right back. How many of you did watch the Aquaman movie? My goodness, I watched it about 3 times. That's a great movie. Imagine that you do too have that rod in your hand that has energy to it, power, frequency. You can use it to receive and transmit energy. What kind of energy are you bringing forth this day? Is it positive or negative? We talked about it last Shabbat. I'm not going to get in that too much, but we did. But the Master Yeshua said it several times. You can go to Luke chapter 9, verse 25. Mark chapter 8, verse 36. We're going to kind of open this up a little bit. We talked about this gain factor. It's innate within all of us to gain. That's built in with us. To gain. To better. There's nothing wrong with gain. But there's something wrong with the format or the way you go about gaining. There's a structure and an order to everything in the universes. And it doesn't change. So the Master Yeshua, Jesus of Nazareth, is saying here, put your soul first. Because he tells you at the end of Matthew chapter 16, verses 26, he tells you, or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? You see, the Master's honing in on a point here as we open this up from another understanding. And that's this. Get your soul right. I know my father used to always say this back in the day. When he had his afro and he had his bell-bottom pants with his platform shoes. How many remember them days? My father used to dress like this, by the way. He's a relic. He used to dress like this. He had his afro and he had the little pick, the afro pick with the fist in his hair. He put it in his head like that. Imagine, I'm bringing you back, I'm bringing y'all back. And my father used to say this. He say this all the time. He used to say it to his brothers, because he had what 10 brothers, 2 sisters. And he say this. He say, he said, I got soul. He used to always say this. He used to say, I got soul. And I remember growing up in the house, he used to always like to watch Soul Train. I mean, you remember that show where they would show people dancing? Well, my dad used to always like to keep it on Soul Train. So I'm sitting there, watching my dad, and he used to always say, yeah, I got soul. How many of you heard that statement made before? People say, I got soul. And that's what's important. The Master Yeshua, Jesus of Nazareth, he's trying to show you the same thing. Understand first that you have a soul. A spirit man, a soul. And you have to nurture that. Just like you feed your physical body. Even more so, you must take care, nurture your soul, take care of your spirit man, your spirit woman. That's not being taught in religions, by the way. Religion is telling you to keep it all material. Let's keep it in the material. The soul and the spirit side, we'll deal with that when the rapture comes. You see, that's a wait and see. That's a wait. Oh, we'll wait for that. Oh, what you doing? Oh, I'm waiting on the rapture, brother. Oh, I can't wait for the rapture. But in the meantime, what's happening to your soul, man? Your spirit, man, it's just dying off. It's like a California raisin. It's just drying up. You see? There's few that's in this day and age that's going to be able to tap into the true source of life, eternal. Yeah, you may have life, like my colleagues tell me. From when you're born to when you die, that's your life. No, it's not, sister. Not in my understanding. How many of you, that's your understanding as well? Oh, my life is from when I'm born to when I die. What the Kohen, the son of Aaron, has taught you here in this forum, and you listening via YouTube that will maybe listen to this later, is the fact that energy can't die. How many of you in this room, put up a capital E if you're energy? Put up a capital E if that statement of energy refers to you. Put up a capital E if you're energy. If you're energy, put up a capital E. Participation is key. Because you got to own it. If you're energy, then own energy. Okay, if that's you, because that's what your response is, by the way. If you're to yourself energy, then how are you going to say, okay, well, my life starts from when the time that I'm born to when the time when I die, then that's it. Yeah, I don't want to repeat for the minis multiplying on these then. Energy cannot be destroyed. It may change its form, you see. It may change its form, but it cannot be destroyed. So you're beyond life, Mishpahah. And the Master Yeshua was trying to teach the people of his time, just like the son of Aaron, Rabbi Simon Alkav, is teaching us as well, the importance to let us know that we're not just life, born, die. We're energy. Now, in my experiences as a nurse, going on 26 years as a nurse, I've seen death in the hospital take place. I've seen it take place. I've seen it take place in these, what they call hospice homes, to where they send these people, they put them on medication, people are about to die over, and they put them in these homes, and they medicate them, and they give them like a comfortable life. I've seen death there as well. I've seen death in infants take place as well. Exploration of what they know of this life here on this earth. And I will tell you this. Out of the, let's just say, 10 times that I've seen the exploration of life on this earth as you know it, there were 2 times that I noticed something real, what I would say, I would coin it as an event. And the event was this, is that when these 2 particular people that I saw pass, one was in a hospital, one was like in a hospice home, where they medicate them and they kind of give them palliative care. They put them on some medication to keep them comfortable as they, prepare to expire in this life as we know it. It's this, is that when they passed, it's the lights flickered. Maybe you've seen this in the movies, but I've seen this really happened, and I saw it with my own eyes, to where you see like a power shortage or even power increase. One time the lights dimmed, like the lights went lower, and then another time it's like a power surge. You know what I'm talking about? Wow, y'all woman of 10, we're on the same sheet. It was like a power surge. And I thought about it, I was like, well, wow, this is something. And at the time, I didn't know anything about like how I understand today, but I was like, there's some sort of energy about humans. There's an energy. Because truly what happened here was an energy surge or an energy decrease. You see? So from what I can tell you from my own perspective, my own experience here on this earth, is that yes, we are energy. That's a factual statement. That's law of the universe, by the way. Your energy. And as soon as you can begin to realize and recognize that you're more than just the shell of a body that you inhabit, my goodness. My goodness. Now it begins to open it up to life eternal. Not just life, by the way, but a life that's eternal. Now, we all have this energy about us. Rabbi Zachariah is saying, Yahweh told Jeremiah that he knew him before he was formed in his mother's womb. Oh, indeed. Indeed. Book of Shil. So, before you was in your mama's womb doing kung fu kicks and practicing yoga and all that stuff in the womb, you are known. How is that? You are energy, you see, and you are not a creation you just brought forth. The creating is done, and that you can look at that verse as well that Rabbi Zachariah is talking about, and you can see in that another facet that wow, I was already created before the womb. I was just brought forth through the womb. I'm going through that experience for the first time in my life right now with my beautiful wife and family now. And I will cherish this moment forever. Some of you, you've gone through this experience maybe 2, 3, even 4 times. It's great, and I'm pretty sure every time, every different experience was different and beautiful. I'm reading this book right now. It's really great. This statement. Listen to this statement. The mind. Listen to this statement. I'm paraphrasing. The mind cannot create or understand beauty. I thought about it. I was like, wow, that's a statement. The mind cannot create or even understand beauty. Beauty is just is. Beauty is. You see? See, the mind can't create beauty because beauty just is beauty. Beauty is what you see, right? See, and again, it goes back to relationships and anything. You might think this beautiful flower is beautiful. I may think that flower is not beautiful. You may think that dog is beautiful. I may think that dog is just ugly as a rug rat. You know what I mean? You may think, oh, that woman is just so beautiful. I may think, no, I don't find that woman attractive at all. You see, beauty is what you see as beautiful. You see? It's not what the mind tells you, okay, well, this is beautiful. In some instances, it can be. If you're hoodwinked and bamboozled by your mind, it can just leave you just out there, out there. And you'll think something is beautiful, and you'll realize, maybe 2 years later down the road, oh, that wasn't so beautiful. That turned out to be just a hot mess. Not beauty, but a mess. See? So it's important that we write our own scripts. I want you all to begin to write your scripts. Unique and authenticated just to you. Just to you. They're making some of these phones out today. You seen some of these phones? Angela is saying this. My grandson Owen, he was born 8 years ago today. Tomorrow, my sweet Hannah, youngest daughter, turned 21. So blessed. Oh yes, indeed. indeed. You live on. You live on through your children. You live on. And you leave a legacy. Now, you teach your children to be positive and leave a positive energy here on this earth. Job well done. Don't get them souped up and caught up in religions. Allow them to be free. Allow them the freedoms of freedom. Allow them to be free. Teach them that freedom isn't free, that they have to work at it. And allow them to be productive citizens here on this earth. Leave positive energy, not negative. We don't need no more negativity. We need positivity around here. And above all things, teach them to be neutral, to stay neutral in any situation. Stay neutral. And they will do themselves a great service, and they will make many friends. Make many friends in this life. And make a mark and leave a mark. And tell them to keep dreaming, keep having visions, and see their dreams become reality. Because that's what they can do. And that's what we all can do. And that's what we're all learning to do here. It's not about a religion here, Mishpah. If you come here for a religion, you come to the wrong place. You come here for a religion, you're in the wrong room. You come here for an abundance of a life. You come here because you're desiring more than what they tell you is out there. Because believe me, there's a lot more out there. There's infinite amounts that's out there for us to tap into. And from Aaron is teaching us how to tap into those things. So it goes back to the soul of a man. As the Master Yeshua, the Master Jesus of Nazareth, telling us, he said, for what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Lose his own soul. What is it? What is it? You heard this verse over and over and over again. Luke 9:25 says it this way. Luke 9, chapter 9, verse 25 says it this way. For what does it bless a man? I'm reading from the History Break Scrolls. It may be different in your King James Version. For what does it bless a man if he gains the whole world and loses himself? Wow. Let's stop there. And loses himself. Remember I told you everything is within. The soul man, that's within you. Yourself, within herself, within himself is the key. That's the key. It's not about gaining the whole world. You see, Christianity, Catholicism, for the most part, they'll tell you this to keep you down. To keep you giving and not getting. To keep you in the mentality, gimme, because my name is Jimmy. You got to give to me. You got to give because I cannot be a gainer. I must be this pauper, and I must be the suffering servant this whole life. And this is a blessed life. No, it's not. You can gain. You can multiply. Isn't that what we're told? I think the first commandment given to man and animal. Go forth, be fruitful, and multiply the earth. Not subtract from the earth. Multiplicity. And last time I checked, 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 4 is 4. Anywhere in there you saw a negative, please tell me. With multiplicity. Do you get a negative number? We don't need to go backward. We need to go forward. Gain is good when put in proper perspective. You don't want to gain at the expense of losing yourself. How do you... And see, this is why we've always been teaching here. It's within. Fix yourself. Love yourself. Like yourself. Know yourself. This, that inner man. This, that I am. Not yourself, the brain. Because some of you are still being conditioned by the brain. But that's going to change. Some of you are still being mind controlled. Your mind is telling you what you like. Your mind is telling you what you hate. And to hate this person and to hate that person. Your mind is telling you you're depressed. Your mind is telling you that you have this behavior disorder. That's your mind telling you that. But when you start to deal with self, When you start to deal with the I am is telling you that you're the head, not the tail. That everything you touch will prosper. Everything you touch turns to gold. It's that you have the DNA of El Shaddai. You have the DNA of God in you. Wow! You're God man. You're God woman. And yet you're going to listen to your mind telling you you're depressed, you cannot be nothing, you're going to always lack because the TV said you're going to lack, you're going to always be sad because you watch this sad show and it reminded you about your past life and blah, 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 and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. These are all obstacles that are put in your way. He talked about this in his lecture. He talked about those obstacles that are put up to prevent you from going back to yourself. The Master Yeshua says in Luke 9:25, if he gains the whole world and loses himself, wow! What is the Master trying to teach us here? Is that you must find yourself. You must know yourself. When you know yourself, then you can gain the whole world. Right? When you know yourself, you are the world. Remember that song they came out with back in the day? We are the world. We are the children. What a beautiful song, right? I remember I donated to the cause. We are the ones to make a brighter day, so let's start living. Y'all remember that song? That's real. You are the world. The world is you. But you don't know that. Because you've been told, oh no, I have to give up everything so that I can gain eternity. I have to be a suffering servant, and I have to go through this life as a pauper, and I have to suffer for Jesus. That's false. They're telling you a bunch of mumbo jumbo. And they're keeping you down. Even Tony Montana said, the world is mine. Tony Montana even said that. He said, the world is mine. There's nothing wrong with money, Mishpachah. Money is not evil. How many of you at one time had a teaching to talk to you that money was evil? Money is the devil. Money is the devil. That's the devil. No, it's not. Money's not evil. Riches, fortune, fame, that's not evil. And you can script all those things in your life, but first you must deal with your inner man, your inner self. Your message saying, I wonder why they would say such things. You want to know why? It's because they want to keep you away from who you really are, your I am. They don't want you to get back to knowing yourself. Loving yourself, knowing who you are. You have the DNA of El Shaddai. Wow. Wow. You know how powerful you really are? Oh man, the world don't want that to get out. Do you wonder why the son of Aaron is the only one that's teaching this stuff? You wonder why? The world don't want that to get you out. Do you know why religion was established? Can anybody tell me why religion was established? It's to keep you down. But me. Noah came off the boat. He didn't scream religion, did he? When the boat landed. You said, okay, yes, we're bringing the Catholic faith, we're bringing the ministry and going to set up monasteries all over the place, and we're going to do all these great things. No, he didn't do that. Did Abraham? Abraham left religion. Abraham went away from that religion mumbo jumbo that his father was into. To subjugate. You see? Think about this now. So why do we run to religions? We need to run away from these religions are to keep you down. It's to keep you controlled. Keep you mind controlled and to subjugate you and to keep you, to lower you so that you can raise them up, you see. Your message says, my father used to tell me money was to help our family and help people who needed it. You can do great things with money. Money is your friend. And your friendship will last forever. Write that script if you ain't writing it. And you wonder why you don't have money, is because you and money are enemies. Don't make money your enemy, because you'll never have anything. And what does it mean not to have money? It's to have lack. How many of you in this room want to lack? I don't want to lack anything. I don't lack anything. I'm infinitely abundant in all areas of my life. I write that script. The Master Yeshua, Jesus of Nazareth, he tells them, oh, what good is it? What good is it? What good does it do? For what does it bless a man? Luke chapter 9, verse 25. If he gains the whole world and loses himself or be cast away. Wow. Wow. If you lose yourself, you've casted yourself away. Think about this now. If you lose yourself, if you lose who you are, and do you see how we're going step by step? It's like a progression. It's just the way the Master works. It's just the way the Master Yahweh operates. It's a pattern. Do you see the pattern? First what you understood, you had to realize, because we had lost ourselves. I didn't know who I was. I was confused at one time. I remember back in the day, hopping from this religion to that religion to this religion to this. You know, you're a Catholic, then you become a Baptist, then you go through catechism, you become all this, you do that, you go through and you get dinged and dumped, you get baptized about 15 times in every one of these different churches. How many of you know what I'm talking about? I had lost myself. I didn't know where I was, man. Identity crisis. I had it. I was like, wait a minute. Something ain't right. You hop from this church to this church. This church not telling you, this, you do this. They tell you do this, you do this. You find that nothing's working. Blah, 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 blah. Identity crisis, man. Right? Identity crisis. Exceptional mind, Christian. Listen, we're not going to go there, but what we are going to say is that, you know, we're very sorry, and our condolences go out for the loss of life, period, at the end of the day. I'm not going to be in nobody's judgment seat. I'm looking at judgment seat. That's not my place. My place is to have compassion and love on all people. That's my place, on all peoples. Not one time am I going to sit here and condemn anybody. That's not my makeup. That's not my character. And I would encourage you all to be the same way, because I'm pretty sure you're going to hear it around the water cooler. Oh, yeah, you see them people, no, you stop all that. You stop that where it is. Stop it where it is. We live in a wonderful world. Most of the people on this earth are wonderful people. You get bad in every bunch, Mishpahah. Don't start. Don't start that. That's just a part of life. Bad comes in every bunch. Remember that. It comes in every bunch. Stop all that mumbo jumbo. Always willing to point the finger. And these are the people, you see, these are the type situations that keep you from learning about loving yourself and knowing yourself, because you're too busy in other people's business. My grandmama used to always tell me to mind your business. Mind your business. You see, grandmama was right, by the way. You have to mind your own business. And everything, like I instructed the woman earlier with the beautiful children in her life that she helped conceive and bring forth as partnership with the creator of the heavens and the universes, is to be neutral in all things. This is how you combat strife, is you just neutral. You neutral, baby, because look, the world's gonna want to make you take sides. How many of you understand that? I hope this is not revelation to you, but the world is going to want to make you take a side. They're going to, you got to be on our side. Oh, no, you got to be on our side. Oh, it's like a tug of war, Oliver. It's like a tug of war going on over here. Oh, so you have to agree with me. No, you have to agree. And then all of a sudden, if you're not careful, you'll be like, wow, I feel a lot of pressure going on. I feel pressure. Anxiety kicks in, and before you know it, you start popping pills. Oh, Lord, I'm sorry, I don't know what to do. I'm so overwhelmed. That's the word I've been hearing lately. Oh, I'm so overwhelmed. Like, what the hell? Oh, I'm so overwhelmed. Like, wait. Relax. Let's put you back in the present. Take a deep breath in. Let it out. Now you're in the present. You're present. You're breathing. You're present. Stop all of that. You see where it can take you? It's a slippery slope. You need to go back to what's important. Oh, I give thanks and gratitude to the Creator of the heavens and the universes that I'm breathing. Yeah, you see, you got to get back to the basics. When you find yourself starting to stray, instead of pull you here and there, you bring yourself back to present. Take a deep breath in. Let it out. I tell you, that's a mental recording that plays in my brain. Because I listen to these recordings every morning, and now it's in my brain. It's like my mind is just starting to replay it like clockwork, baby. At first, the mind was fighting it for a minute, but it couldn't fight it too long because I kept playing it, and I was consistent with it. Consistency is key. The Master Yeshua, we're going to read it in a minute, but he tells us to be vigilant. You're going to learn that wait is vigilance. Wait is ready. We must be on the ready. Well, how do we get ready? Hakohi, the son of Aaron, has given you great tools at your disposal to help you stay ready. You see, you're not just waiting like the Christians. Oh, we're waiting on to come back. Well, what do you do while you wait? Well, I hate Johnny. I'm going to beat up Sally when I get home. Sad but true, Miss Bahar. I noticed that in Christianity. I tell you, this is what I saw. I saw in the Christian church, they put on this face. They put on their church face. I've seen this with my own eyes. And their face looks, in church, they have the ideal family. You think, wow, this is like the heavenly family, man. In church, everybody dressed a certain way, blah, blah, blah. Little Johnny looks nice, little Sally is awesome. And then all of a sudden, when church is done, and you go over to little Johnny and little Sally's house, man, Daddy cussing Mama, Mama throwing pots at Daddy, little Sally, this, that, the other, Johnny's doing whatever he wants to do. And you're like, wait a minute. I thought this, I'm scratching my head. I was like, wait a minute. In church, I'm seeing this ideal, model, heavenly family. But when they get home, wow. It's a total different scene. I'm like, wow, my goodness. What a show they put on. They had me fooled. I'm telling you. I'm like, wow, I thought y'all were like the perfect family. But I go to your house and it's like all hell is broken loose. What's wrong? What happened? So we look at these situations, and so that's why you have to put religion to the side. Religion is only there to keep you down. It's a show. It's a great show. That's just what it is. It's a show. And they're taking a lot of people for the ride, and that's very sad, but it's very true. So we have to get back to ourselves. We have to get back to taking care of self. Don't lose yourself. The Master Yeshua taught, don't lose yourself. In Luke chapter 9, verse 25, we read that verse. For what does it bless a man if he gains the whole world and loses himself or be cast away? But let's go to the verse above that. Let's go to verse 24. Listen to what it says. Listen to what the Master said. For whosoever will rescue his life shall lose it. But whosoever will lose his life for my sake, the same shall rescue it. That's heavy stuff. This is what I was telling you earlier. What the Master's trying to teach us here is that you literally have to lose your life. When you come back to the I am mode, you have to forget life as you know it. know why? Because on the side, life doesn't exist. The abundance, eternity does. Do you see it? Remember we talked about energy? Energy, you don't die. You like baby's kids, you multiply. With energy, you don't die. So life as you know it, you just have to lose life. Life, you have to forget about it. Too many people here on this earth are focused with life. When they don't understand, when they get into the I am mode and begin to understand that and they begin not to lose themselves, they realize that, man, I'm eternal. I come from eternal DNA. So what does that make me? Eternal. You wonder why Hasatan can't be destroyed? He's a son of God. You can't destroy that. You can't destroy the evil one. Hasatan. He can't be destroyed. You can't destroy angels. They come from the same DNA as the supreme power. You have power within you. There was this one song back in the 80s, I used to dance to it all the time, say, I got the power. You have the power. You have the power within you. How many of you remember that song? That used to be the big dance song back in the day. I have the power. You too have the power. But if you lose yourself, you'll never realize the power. Your message saying it's hard to fathom and understand. I know it's not. Your message, write your script and say it's easy to understand and it's easy to fathom. And I so understand it. I used to say that about the Forex market. I was like, man, this stuff is really really difficult to wrap your head around. Now, do you know, I changed the script up and I said, you know what? Trading the Forex currency is so easy. Thank you to the universes that it's like drinking water. It's so easy to understand. Thank you for the wisdom to be able to see the markets the way I can see and be able to predict with high probability how the market's going to go, and it goes there. Thank you. Wow. You see, you got to change the script, your Messiah. Your script you right there in Chadasha right there. Cause I see you're an honest woman. You're honest. Look what you wrote. It's hard to fathom. Well, guess what? It's going to be hard to fathom. It's going to be hard for you to understand. Because you wrote the script. Change your script. Oh, this is easy. I understand it, and I'll continue to understand, and I want to understand more, and I'm going to understand more, and I'm understanding, and I'm understanding, and I'm understanding, and I'm going to always want to understand. And you see what I'm saying? Because you never get to a point where you fully understand. You understand what I mean? I know that's a lot of understanding. But you never get to that point. You see? You're always understanding. And you always want more understanding. And your Messiah is saying, I understand. There you go. That's the start. Now you're on the road to success for you. Because your road to success and my road to success may be totally different. But it's okay. Because at the end of the day, our desires are being met, and we're making the mark. And we're meeting the mark because our desires are being met. How many of you in this room have desires? Put up a capital D. That's you. Y'all are responsible, by the way. You have desires. You have desires. I want my script for all of you is that I want all of your desires met. I want every last one of your desires met. Every last one of your desires will be met. Every last one of your desires will be met. Thank you. What the world needs now is gratitude, baby. We need a healthy dose of gratitude. Giving thanks. Thank you. Your gratitude and your desires are met. Thank you. All of your dreams, your thoughts, your vision, your desires. This is why you gotta get up in the morning, baby. You gotta get up in the morning. and recharge yourselves. And set yourselves off on that path daily. See, this way you don't lose yourself, like the Master Yeshua was talking about. Yeah, you wake up thinking about gain, but in the process of gain, you don't want to lose yourself. This is why you wake up in the morning and the son of Aaron tells us to program self first. It's to charge yourself and then go out and gain. Hallelujah. See it? Christianity not going to teach you this. Catholicism not going to teach you this. They have to leave you like robots. So they can program you and reprogram you. But we say it delete. Alt delete. Get all that mumbo jumbo, put it in the trash, and then delete the trash bin. This is what needs to be done. All of you human beings, you're here, you're a human being. You're a human being. Don't come here looking to segregate yourself for religious titles, because you're in the wrong place. You're human beings. You're creations of an awesome creator. Awesome is just not even the word. Super duper, marvelous, magnificent creator. Wow. That afforded you with some tools that now you are starting to use, and you're starting to see what? You're starting to see the work of your labor being manifested in miracles, in material wealth, in material health, in material relationships, in peace. Some folks writing a script right now saying, Rabbi, I just want peace. And more power to it, because you are shalom now. You are shalom. Right now, you are peace. You are love. And you are joy. Right now. That's the default settings of the Creator of the heavens and the universes for all of us. So when you come in here rambling off about some mumbo jumbo, about pointing the finger, that's not my default setting. I want you all to start using that. Use it this week, these 6 days or later. Say, people will be talking to you about everything negative. You say, well, that's not my default setting. My default setting is peace, love, and joy. That's my default settings. Tell them that and you're like, wait a minute, what's wrong with you? Maybe you're some kind of robot. No, you're just programmed into your self. You're not losing self. All of these other people, I want you to study this week, these 6 days of labor, as you go out into your world, into your nation. You'll realize, wow, how many people have lost themselves. Because their whole concern is about everything outside of themselves. Or you'll see that they're too busy trying to gain the whole world that they lost self. That's the two scenarios you're going to find out there. And then you'll find the ones, the chosen ones, that have chosen to find themselves. You see? Wow. Isn't good stuff, Mishpah? This is the juicy meat potato stuff that everybody in the whole world needs to hear. I don't care what your religion is. Because you've got to put religion to the side for 1 minute and say, look, I'm a human being. And I just have these innate desires within me. It's like a pulling, it's like a gravitational force that's pulling you a certain way. And you don't know why, you can't explain it, you don't know how, why it's doing this. It's because it put religion to the side for 1 minute and just see yourself as this human being. And you'll realize how brilliant, how great you are, how magnificent you are. Because you come and you're plugged into a magnificent power source. Unlimited power. Unlimited power. And it's at your disposal. And all of you have desires with these capital D's. To God for that, for putting that up. Because that's important to see as well. You need to see your desires so that they can become real. You need to dream your desires. Visualize your desires. Imagine your desires. Your imagination will make them real. I'm telling you, it's going to make them real. Speak your desires. Write your desires. Write them down. See, this way, you're not losing yourself, but you're actually finding yourself. Seek and you shall find. Knock and the door will be open unto you. You got to seek what? You got to seek yourself. You have to find yourself. The Master Yeshua says that people will lose. People are losing themselves in the process of trying to gain the whole world, because they're so concerned with life. And because they put life on a time frame. They put life on a time frame. Shalom to you, luxury class. Shabbat shalom to you, finish yard of the world. But they put themselves on this time frame. From when you're born till you die. Oh, I only have this amount of time to get so much done, so I got to put my focus on gain. No, you need to understand is that you have to delete time. You have to forget about time. Time can be the biggest stumbling block in your way, the biggest kryptonite to you finding self, and the greatest compliment to you losing self. Because the minute things don't happen under your time scale, guess what? You dump everything. You throw the baby out with the bathwater. You know what I'm talking about? You take the baby, you throw it out with the bathwater. Not literally, because we ain't trying to do that. We love the children. We love the babies. But you just discard everything. You discard every single thing. Boom. Because, oh, Rabbi, it didn't happen at this time. And I gave these specific times for it to happen. And because it didn't happen that way, you discard everything. You see? That's why you got to forget about time and understand that your power source, he's infinite. You're infinitely abundant. Time is irrelevant. You understand what I mean? So do you see how they hoodwink you with time? Now look, don't be late for work tomorrow because, oh, Rabbi Kefa said I don't have to worry about time because time is hoodwinking me. No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. But you know what I mean by how you're hoodwinked and bamboozled by time constraints. You must forget about time. Forget it. As the mob guys say, forget about it. Forget about it, Mishpachah. Now, let's look at what the Master Yeshua, again, we got to look at the Master Yeshua's words. You see? Let's stay in Luca. Luca, the Levite, by the way. Let's stay in Luca. Let's pick up Luke chapter 12. We'll start at verse 30. For all these things do the Gentiles of the world seek after. And your Ab knows that you have need of these things. Look at verse 31. But rather seek his kingdom, and all these things will be added unto you. Where is the kingdom of the Abba right now, if I may ask? Where is the kingdom of the Abba? Where is the kingdom of God right now? Can anybody tell me? Anybody have a clue? Where all these great teaching you've been sitting under from the Kohen, where is the kingdom of God right now? The kingdom, the kingdom, the kingdom. There you go. Within you guys. Boy, you guys are great students. You guys are great students. The kingdom of God is within you, right? Just like the Master Yeshua was telling. You see, everybody think all these parables are about end times. Oh, the world coming to an end. No, it's about inner man, your inner self. Do you understand? The kingdom is within you, and I'm so happy and I'm so joyous that you understand that the kingdom of heaven is within you. Luke chapter 12, verse 31. but rather seek his kingdom, and all these things shall be added unto you. You see, there's nothing wrong with all these things. Oh, wait a minute, here comes the Christian in you. Here comes the Catholic. Oh, I'm not to have riches. I'm not to have fame. I can't have that Tesla. I can't have that Mercedes-Benz. I can't drive that Lexus. Yes, you can. But what comes first? Remember, follow the pattern the system is set up. The system is set up for us not to fail. Yet we fail the system. That's what being hokmah. The system is not set up for us to fail. The eternal, the infinite system is not set up for us to fail. But we fail the system. That's where it goes wrong. Your message says, that Cadillac. That's right. You can have that Cadillac. Nothing wrong with you having that Cadillac. But what does the Master Yeshua tell us? Why do you think the son of Aaron is teaching us about fixing from becoming unconscious to consciousness? But rather seek his kingdom. His kingdom is within you. How do you want to set up your kingdom? Remember we talked about this earlier. You write script. You imagine the kingdom set up the way you want it, and all these things shall be added unto you. Oh, what things? Whatever you want. Whatever is on this material earth or even in space. You want to buy some real estate in space? They doing that now too. You buy some real estate in space if that's what you want. You see? If that's what you want. Whatever you want. What do you want? I asked you earlier, what are your desires? Whatever you want. But first, you must seek the kingdom. But rather seek his kingdom. His kingdom is your kingdom. But not many people. You see, they put the cart before the horse. Many people go after all those things, and they forget about, and they lose himself. They lose herself. I see that with my colleagues. They love money. There's nothing wrong with money. But in the process, they forget about even loving themselves. They don't even know themselves or herself. And they only love money. And they make very bad companions. Very bad friends. It's because they think about just, they only one-track mind is money. They have no substance to them. I'm like, wow, man, come on. Can we talk about something else? Hey, did you hear any birds in your backyard today when you went out in the garden? Birds? I don't listen to no birds. Did you see those beautiful flowers that are blooming in your backyard? Oh, flowers? I don't have time for no flowers. I'm trying to work these extra shifts so I can make money. So then what are you going to do so then I can make more money? So then their whole life just wasted. Loss of self. Loss of self, Mishpah. You don't want to lose self. Back to Luke chapter 12, verse 31. But rather seek his kingdom, and all these things shall be added unto you. Verse 32. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Ab's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Boom! The kingdom is already given to you, and the Abba gives it to you with pleasure. His good pleasure. Be of good cheer, Mishpah. Fear not, little flock. That's a nice little saying. Nice little phrase, right? From the Master Yeshua, Master Jesus of Nazareth. Fear not, little flock. Why does he say that? Because one of the biggest stumbling blocks, one of the biggest obstacles that is thrown up in your way is fear. Fear. Fear not, little flock. For it is your Ab's great pleasure to give you the kingdom. Look at verse 3. Sell that you have and be blessed. Provide yourselves bags which wax not old, a treasure in the Shemayim that fails not, where no thief can reach, nor moth can corrupt. Once you get back to the inner man, inner self, no thief can't get in there and steal that from you. Let them take all your possessions and material possessions like they think that's affecting you, but it don't touch you, because you'll just get more. You'll just get more. I've heard testimony of some people that follow the path of understanding, that they'll lose everything. And couple of months, couple of years, they'll get it all back. You see what I mean? Why? It's because they have not lost themselves. And it's because they have that connection with their I am. That's infinite. I told you about that. You can't put no lifespan on the I am. It's eternal. It's infinite. Well, my colleagues tell me, well, your life is from when you were born to the day you die. No, that's not my life. I'm eternal, baby. I'm on the eternal side of things. I'm talking about some eternity here. Look at verse 34. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. That's a whole lecture in itself that I can break that down into. But we won't go there right now. But where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. What do you think you should treasure more than anything? What do you think right now you should treasure more than anything? What should you treasure? Anybody tell me? When you think about your situation, when you think about who you are as a human being, what should you treasure more than anything? I'll tell you, you should treasure yourself. You should treasure yourself more than anything. You should treasure yourself. This is the problem with humanity, Mishpachah, is that many people don't treasure themselves. Thus, you get, a physical manifestation of some bad actions on the ground. Negative energy. Nobody cannot take away the fact that you treasure yourself. I don't care what kind of bad relationship you're in, who said what to you, sticks and stones may break your bones, blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. But when you treasure yourself, my goodness, just like somebody put up here earlier, the world becomes your oyster. It's because there's nothing that can faze you. You got this force field up that just cannot be penetrated. It's because you know you treasure yourself. You see yourself as a treasured piece, a gem in the eyes of your Creator that breathes into your nostrils. Depression? Bah humbug. Anxiety? Bah humbug. Lack? Bah humbug. I'm a treasure. And I treasure myself. You need to tell yourself that. Somebody needs to hear that today. You need to treasure yourself. You are a treasure chest. You don't have to go hunting for it, digging for it. It's within you. You are the treasure chest. You're right, Yael, woman of 10. You are so precious. Like, what's that one character on the tower? He said, oh, my precious. He saw that ring. Oh, precious, where's my precious? My precious. Gollum. He said, oh, my precious, my precious. You are precious. You are. You need to see yourself that way. You are a treasure. Yet you run around here trying to hunt down treasures. The treasure is within you. You don't have to go play treasure hunting and all that. You don't have to do that. The treasure is already within you. How beautiful is that? That's awesome. So in Luke chapter 12, verse 34 says, the Master Yeshua goes on to say, for where your treasure is, there will be your heart. There will your heart be also. Look at verse 35. Let your loins be girt about, and your lights burn. Verse 36. And you yourselves, like men that wait for their master, when he will return from the wedding, that when he comes and knocks, they may open to him immediately. Verse 37. Blessed are those servants whom the master, the Adonai, the Lord, when he comes, shall find them watching. Verily I say unto you, that he shall gird himself and have them to take their place at the table, and will come forth and serve them. verse 38. And if he shall come in the second watch, or come in the third watch, and find them so, blessed are those servants. You see? Let's keep reading, verse 39. And know this, that if the master of the bed had known what hour the thief would come, he would have watched and would have not permitted his house to be broken through. Verse 40. Listen to this. Listen closely. Be you therefore ready also, for the Son of Man comes at an hour when you do not expect him. See, it all goes back to this waiting thing. Waiting for you who are connected to your I am, to the source, it's not about a time. The Son of Man is telling you, the Master Yeshua, Jesus of Nazareth, is telling you, look, no man knows the time or the hour. What is he telling you right there? You need to dump the time factor and just do what? Dump the time factor and just be ready. Just be ready. Just be ready. Son of Aaron, HaKohi, Rabbi Simon Alta is teaching you how to be ready. Can anybody give me some ideas on how to be ready? How do you just be ready? How do you make sure that your loins are always girt? You're ready. You're ready. You're watching. How do you do that? How do you do that? You see, because there's this misconstrued understanding on what waiting is all about. Well, what does waiting mean? Abundance mindset, that's part of it. That's getting up every morning and going through your necessaries. Going through your affirmations, going through your gratitude, giving thanks, recharging the I am so that you don't lose self, that you don't lose himself in the process of gain. Do you see it? This is what it's all about right here. The Master Yeshua, Jesus of Nazareth, he's saying what? Be you therefore ready also. Be ready. The Kohen, the son of Aaron, is teaching us how to be ready. You see, there's a difference between wait and wait. See, there's waiting and then there's waiting. You must always be ready. I like the way Mark gives the account of the way the Master says it. Look at Mark chapter 13, verse 35. Mark chapter 13, verse 35. Watch ye therefore, for you know not when the master of the bed comes, at the evening, or at the midnight, or at the cry blowing of the shofar, or in the morning. Look at verse 36. Lest coming suddenly he finds you sleeping. Look at verse 37, which is so instructional. And I say to you, what I say to all, be vigilant. Vigilant. Be vigilant. Be ready. Be vigilant. What does that mean? Well, that means you get up in the morning and you start your day by dealing with yourself. By recharging yourself so that you don't lose yourself. So, loss, how do you prevent loss? By doing it daily. Make it ritual. Make it a part of your life. That's how you don't lose your I am. Is you recognize it first thing in the morning. You deal with it. You charge it up. Charge up the I am. Recharge the I am, and you recharge, and you recharge, and you recharge. Be vigilant. Be ready. Everybody uses these verses and thinking, we're waiting. We're just waiting for Jesus to come. Then when he comes, we're going to decide to fix ourselves then, you see. Then when he comes, we'll go ahead on and decide to make things right then when he comes, you see. But wait for us is being ready. Wait for us is being vigilant. Being on the ready. What are you doing in the morning when I like the way our coach says in the audios? He said, now you are charged for the day. What is that doing? That's girding yourself. You're charging yourself for the day. That's girding yourself. This is what you must understand. You see, because there's a lot of people waiting, and they're waiting in vain. I think Bob Marley had a song about that, but they're waiting in vain. Look at the parable that the master gives about this as well. You see, because wait is actually synonymous with present. Wait is actually synonymous with now. If you're waiting, you're present, you're ready, you're on the guard, you're girded, you're ready, you're vigilant. Essence. You have to be present to wait, Mishpah. I hope all are understanding that. You have to be. HaKohen is saying, ready now on your guard and see them coming at an unexpected time. That is Jesus, the higher self-conscious delivery system. It never fails. You don't want to be caught sleeping. And that's what some of you may be saying. Well, yeah, Kohen said for me to get up and recharge myself at 5 o'clock in the morning. Well, I'm going to sleep in. I like to sleep late. Well, you just read the verse. You don't want to get caught sleeping. And there's nothing wrong with sleeping in if you want to sleep in, here or there. But you don't want to get caught sleeping on forgetting about your inner self. Finding your inner self. And continuing to find your inner self. Finding at what? That inner self meaning your what? Your subconscious. That consciousness. You want to reach consciousness. You don't want to be unconscious. You don't want to be the walking dead, these zombies around here. You want to be conscious. Yet so many people that's walking the face of this earth, they're just that. They're just zombies, man. And that just gives me more motivation to want to be conscious, to want to be plugged into the super-duper consciousness, mega consciousness of the creator of the heavens. That's part of my DNA. I come from that. Look at what the Master Yeshua says here in this parable in Luke chapter 13, starting at verse 22. And he went through the cities and villages, teaching and journeying towards Jerusalem. Verse 23. When said one to him, Master, Adonai, Lord, are there few that be rescued? And he said to them, strive to enter in at the narrow door. For many, strive to enter in at the narrow door. For many, I to you, will seek to enter in and shall not be able to. Pay attention to this. I'm telling you. We all have the narrow door. We all have the broad way. It's within you. Don't go looking for Broadway in New York. That's the wrong one. This stuff is within, Mishpah. Now, look at Luke chapter 13, verse 25. When once the head of the house is risen up and has shut the door, and you begin to stand outside. You see, you should have already been standing, right? If you're vigilant, if you're ready. You see, some gonna realize, wow, what HaKohen said was true. But they should have already been standing. Now all of a sudden the Master said, oh, now you begin to stand. When you should have already been standing for yourself. You should have already been, standing for your I am. You should have been standing already, but you wasn't. Then you realize, oh, wait a minute, snap, the doors is closed. Wait a minute. Looks like I missed something here. So then what happens? Look at this whole scenario. I mean, you can make a movie out of Luke chapter 13, verse 25. And you begin to stand outside, and you knock at the door saying, Master, Master, open to us. And he shall answer and say to you, I know not where you come from. Listen to that. Where you come from. How do you find out where you come from? You have to take a look within yourself. The master in this parable teaching, oh, these are folks that did what? That they lost themselves. They never found themselves. But then look, listen, it goes on. I'm telling you, you can make a movie. This is Hollywood script right here in Luke chapter 13. Luke chapter 13, verse 26. Then shall you begin to say, we ate and drank in your presence, and you taught in our streets. So these are people, oh yeah, they heard this before, but they heard about, okay, yeah, I need to get, but they denied it, they rejected it, they maybe slandered it. Oh, man, there's no time for all that mumbo jumbo. I'm too busy out here trying to, gain the world. The world is mine, blah, 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 blah. Look at verse 27. But he shall say, I tell you, here it goes again, I know you not, where you come from. It's innate within all of us human beings to know where we come from. This is why it's so important if you put religion to the side, Mishpah. You must put religion to the side. You must put all of this stuff, be it religion, it could be what grandmama said, what mama said, what my parents taught me. You have to put all of that to the side. What you learned on TV, what the college taught you with all those titles behind your name, all of that trash, you got to put it to the side for 1 minute, and you got to say this. You got to be real with yourself. You got to say, man, where do I come from? You got to ask yourself the very question in the parable that the Master Yeshua is trying to explain to the people. So the Master said this twice, so it must be very important to ask this question: where do I come from? See, that makes you look within yourself. Once again. Oh no, Rabbi, these parables are just talking about the end times and the people that's not going to make it and the people that's going to make it and blah, 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 blah. These parables are teaching you many different things on many different levels. And one of these levels is this, is that you got to forget about time. Nowhere in it says that, well, yeah, I'm going to come at this time on this day when the moon is doing this and blah, blah, blah. No, it's a state of being. It's actually teaching you about presence. Where do I come from? Where do I come from? That's presence. Where do I come from? That's now. That's the present. This is good stuff, man. I'm telling you, this is movie-making stuff. I do not know where you come from. Depart from me, all you workers of lawlessness. Why are they workers of lawlessness? It's because they never took the time to know who they are, where they come from, so that they can be happy people. They realize this stuff too late. Oh, but then they said, wait a minute. We ate and drank in your presence. And you taught us, you taught in our streets. How are you going to say, you do not know where we come from? Why are we such foreigners to you? Paraphrasing. Look at verse 28. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth when you shall see Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and all the prophets in the kingdom of Elohim, and you yourselves will be thrust out. And they shall come, in verse 29, and they shall come from the east and from the west and from the north and from the south, and shall sit down in the kingdom of Elohim. And then the Master closes with this in this parable, which is very, very powerful. And behold, there are last which shall be first, and there are first which shall be last. Heavy stuff there. Heavy stuff there. So you don't want to go back to, you want to go back. You see, again, it's important that you understand this. You don't want to realize this late. Don't let this parable be, your script. and just brush this, this foundational connection that the priesthood, that the sons of Aaron, that the son of Aaron is giving you, giving me this day. Don't brush it off. And then you want to stand up later and say, wait a minute, I heard those TG. You taught that, and we listened to it, we drank. What does drinking and eating mean? We took it in. We ingested it. You took it in one way, then it came out the other. Didn't do you no good. Where I know not where you come from. Are you coming from a place of infinite abundance? Are you coming from a place of the I am? Are you coming from a place of me, myself, and I? Are you coming from a place of just material wealth? Where do you come from? I know not where you come from. Wow. And they call him out by name. Master, Master, open to us. Knocking on the door. Boy, they knocking now, huh? Knocking on the door. See, then you begin to stand. You weren't standing before. But now that the doors are closed, now you want to stand up. Oh, Rabbi, I have time to do this. I'll do this at another time. I'll do this later. The Master's parables are teaching us, don't get caught sleeping. Don't get caught sleeping. Don't get caught sleeping. Stay vigilant. Stay on the ready. Forget about time. Time doesn't mean anything. Well, how do we know when your time is near? That time doesn't mean anything. If you're present, it doesn't matter because time is now. Relevance is now. The Master Yeshua is here now. You're always ready. The door will get closed in your face. But then you're going to find there are going to be many that are going to be standing outside. They didn't want to hear this mumbo jumbo. They didn't want to love self. They didn't want to know self. They didn't want to get back to the I am mode. So be it. You leave them to it. Let them be the spectator standing on the outside, knocking on the door. Don't let that be you. Be vigilant. Be on the ready. Be girded. You're ready. Because that's present now. Diligence is now. You're ready. I'm ready right now. I'm ready now. I'm present. Our Queen talked about this many times about being in the present. Not in the past, not in the future. You see, wait for folks, the way they understand it now is somewhere in the future. I just got to wait on it. Wait for us is now. It's present now. It's right now. It's being in the now. Being ready right now. Not, okay, well, when Jesus comes, then I'm going to change my ways, and I'm going to fix all this, and He's going to help me fix everything. No, you're to do that now. Otherwise, the door is going to slam in your face, and you'll be the one of those, oh, now you want to stand? Now you want to start knocking on the door? And again, you see the Master, what does He call it? He describes it in Luke chapter 13, verse 24. Strive to enter at the narrow door. For many, I say to you, will seek to enter in and shall not be able to. What's that narrow door? What do we say the word for narrow in? take the R out of narrow. Narrow. Take the R out, and you got now. Strive to enter in at the now door. Let's just replace that with now in Luke chapter 13, verse 24. Strive to enter in at the now door, at the present door. For I will say to you, many will seek to enter in and shall not be able to. That's heavy. That's heavy stuff right there. That is heavy stuff right there. And it's not your running the mill, mumbo jumbo spiel that they want to give you. Oh, this verse and that verse, and quoting this verse and that verse. At the end of the day, the Master Yeshua's main deal was, I know not where you come from. Where do you come from? Oh, you can quote me some verses, but where do you come from? You quote me many verses, but where do you come from? Oh, you say my name this way, no problem. Where do you come from? Because last time I checked, in this parable right here that he was given, they begin to say his name too. Master, Master, knocking at the door. In Luke chapter 13, verse 25, they knocking at the door as well. And he said to them, what? I know not where you come from. Where do you come from? You quote some verses, where do you come from? So what? You know Hebrew, where do you come from? So what? Your parents have this lineage, so what? Where do you come from? Doesn't matter. Where do you come from? Are you coming from a perspective of I am? Or are you coming from a perspective of mind control? Are you coming from a perspective of religion? Where do you come from? Are you coming from a perspective of what Mama said? Where do you come from? You know where I'm coming from? Creator of the universes, I'm coming from infinite abundance. I'm coming from present. I'm coming from now. Do you see that, your Messiah? That's the perspective you need. Your mindset is that. I'm coming from infinite abundance. I'm coming from now. I'm coming from present. Because I'm omnipresent now. I'm not coming from religion, mumbo jumbo, throwing some verses at me, giving me goosebumps. I don't come from goosebumps. I come from eternal presence. I come from infinite power. I come from now. I come from infinite abundance. That's where I come from. Nothing can affect you. Nothing can faze you. Because the world will try to throw things at you, but so be it. The Master Yeshua told us we're going to have troubles. Trouble is going to come. But they don't, trouble don't know where I come from, but trouble will. Trouble will know where I come from. I come from infinite abundance. In every area of my life. Because some of you may be saying, you're looking on YouTube, all they talk about is money, money, money. No, we don't. It's not. Every area of your life, the area of health, area of wealth, area of relationship, area of employment. What do you want? Because that's what it is. There is no limit. No limitations in this way of life, in this way of living that we live. Because it's not life. Because we reject life for what? We reject life for infinite abundance. We reject life for eternity. You see? You gotta lose the life model. You gotta lose that. You gotta lose to gain. And truly do you gain. Because if you give it up life, what else is there? What else is better than losing life? But infinite abundance. My goodness. Infinitely abundant. Infinite Ishbahal. Do you see it? I hope you all do see it. Because we're not around here to wait on something to happen in the future. We're to do it now. See, those waiters were the ones that were sitting down, and then they decided to stand up. Oh, the doors are we stand up. What's going on? Oh, we see some activity moving over here. The doors are closed now. Let me go stand up and see. No, we're not waiting the way they wait. Our wait is vigilance. Our wait is on the ready. Our wait is girding our loins right now. Our wait is present. That's how we wait. Our wait is present. Yes, we're waiting for the return of the Master Yeshua to be taken back to the land. But in the meantime, what are you doing? How many of you, at one time, your mind tricked you like this as well? When you first came into knowledge of the truth and who you are, one of the first things you wanted to do was go back to Israel. How many of you never did? You're like, man, I want to go back to Israel. Oh, I can't. Or you thought like this, oh, I can't wait till Jesus takes me back to Israel. And that's all you thought about. Oh, now I want to go back to the land. That was me. I'm gonna put. Okay. Now that I know the truth, okay, let's go back. I'm ready to go back now. but you see, that's a broken model. I look back on it and I say, wow, how much I have grown from that. You see? They're like, wait a minute. I'm gonna go back to the land and do what? With that same ridiculous mentality I had at that time? Because the land would have said just what the Master said. He said, I know not where you come from. You know what I'm saying? So it's important, right, that now we begin to nurture our I am. That's what's important right now. And when the Master decides to come back and take us into the land, we're already ready. We're ready. We don't have to. Oh, well, now you're going to stand up. Now you're going to stand up. You're going to start. No, we're already ready. You understand? So it doesn't. So there is no time constraints because people want to run and they want to use time as this like. It's almost like a weapon that just does not work. And they use it and they embrace it. They see it as a weapon, but when it comes time to fire the weapon, it's of no use. You see, it's of no use. It's of zero use. And that's where a lot of folks are. You know, they caught up in this, here's one right here, right on cue. they're caught up in this time. You see, this is an example, right? We only have a few years left. No one cares about Bible talk. Oh my goodness. Do you see it, Miss Bob? I mean, what a great end to my lecture right here. This man is giving you a great example of those who are hoodwinked and bamboozled by time. You must reject time. You see, because he's running in fear over time. You see what they're doing? And they're telling you the same thing with this mumbo-jumbo global warming mumbo-jumbo. Oh, no, you only have a few years left. Tell your children don't have any more children because they're going to suffer and the world will come to an end and it's going to be catastrophic and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, my goodness, you people. You hoodwinked and you bamboozled by time. I serve an infinite God. Not one that puts time constraints on you and have you running in fear. The Master Yeshua said, have faith of a mustard seed and not to run in no fear. What are you afraid of? I'm not afraid of anything because I live in the present. I'm present, man. What do I fear? My goodness. No time to fear, Mishpah. It's time to get your facts and your faith right. And line that up with your inner man. I tell you what, Mishpah, you're unstoppable. Nothing can stop you. But you're stopping yourself. Stop. Stopping yourself. Don't prevent yourself. Reinvent yourself. This shell of a self that has been molding and shaping you, but that's not you. You lost yourself, but now you're going to go back and find your I am, who you really are. The deity of God is within you. Find that. Be present. My goodness. What a great example. Thank you, Charles, for coming through. We only have a few years left. My goodness. But do you know, there's many people that think just like Charles does. And they're running around here in fear, man. And they're running around here in anxiety and depression. Oh, I got a little time left. Oh, what was me? Little do they know. They're limiting themselves. I serve an infinite God. And my makeup is of that same infinite God. I'm powerful. And I have powers. You all too have powers. You just must harness them. I'm telling you, you powerful people, man. You human beings, you're powerful. I mean, you don't know how powerful you really are, but you're powerful. And we are even more powerful than we believe we are. You know, Hollywood is trying to tell you you're powerful, but they call you superheroes. Only superheroes can be powerful. Well, you're a superhero, man. You have powers. But they've been watered down. They've been forgotten about. Because you lost yourself, as the Master Yeshua says. But that's okay. Because now you're going to find yourself now. You have opportunity. For those of you who are new to the room, welcome. You're welcome to come back. You're welcome here. This is open door policy room here. Because all you're going to get is the facts about how to live a life, and a life that's more abundantly, and living a life that's based on eternity and not on time constraints, you see. So on that note, I'm going to wrap my lecture up for today and leave you in joy, leave you in love, and leave you in peace, leave you in shalom. That's the script that I write for all of you and for all of our families. We need to ground our family as well. We need to ground Israel. We need to ground our family. You do that daily as well, too. Ground your family. That's important. All of you are family members here. And I cherish each and every one of you. and I'm your biggest cheerleader, and I rejoice in your successes, because you're going to have multiple successes, many successes. You're successful people, man. You come from the DNA of El Shaddai. Quit putting these time constraints and limiting yourselves and running in fear and not doing anything because you're waiting on something to happen. When wait for us is present. Wait for us is now. Wait for us is what? It's our I am at work daily. And I think that's important for us to understand. Simha is saying, shalom, shalom within you is great. I am energy. And they in love with the paper bills that I owe, or my paper dollar bills. Be ready to practice humility to learn and change from old attitudes against change of heart. Let go of old attitudes and get room for humility to the belief of certainty of the great I am in the Garden of Eden within you. Every moment that keeps you alive, a moment every day. Keep the mindset of certainty and let go of stubborn ego called doubt. The watchman never sleeps. I am shalom shalom. Tada Rabbi Kefa. How often is the room open? Every Shabbat, well, every Saturday this time right here, Shabbat, that we follow. We open at 7 o'clock Central Time. 7 o'clock, actually, yes, 7 o'clock Central Time, my time. That's Eastern Time, it's 8 o'clock Eastern. West Coast time is what, 6 o'clock West Coast? 5 o'clock on, who's over there on the West Coast? What time are y'all getting up over there? 5 o'clock, isn't it, on the West Coast? So yeah, these are the times. So you guys are welcome to come anytime. Come often so you can grow and learn your inner woman, your inner man, and you'll do yourself a great service. Yeah, Simha's right. It's 5 o'clock over there on the West Coast. Yeah, West Coast, y'all getting up right at the time to do that's the optimal time to really receive and energize your inner man, your I am within you, as long as you have the I am. So I'm going to turn it over to Hakohi for any further thoughts or any comments going forward. But I wish you all a great 6 days of labor ahead as you continue to learn. Oh, is it 6 a.m. Simha? Okay, it's 6 a.m. her time. Okay, great. Yeah, because we had the time change, right? There's been a time change. Yeah, we sprung ahead. I forgot about that. We did spring ahead. Okay. So on that note, I'll turn it back over to Hakohi. You guys that have any testimonies, please let the family know. And how you're not creating, but how you're bringing forth, and how you're writing your scripts, and watching these things unfold in your lives, because they will happen. All you have to do is watch and wait. Then that means stay present. So, Shabbat Shalom and Shalom Shalom. Over to you, Hakohi. I give way to the Kohi.
Toda for that, Rabbi Kefa. Toda for the lecture, a great lecture. Pay heed. And remember that you are either you can bless yourself or you can decrease yourself. It's up to you. You will set your own script, and that's what your life will dictate around. And the words are spoken. The problem is, for the religious, they take Jesus' words, Yeshua's words are taken out of context and applied at a future time, at a future place, when he was speaking about the present. So that's the problem. So you need to come out of that future place, and you need to be in the present. When you're in the present, you are then dealing with the now, not the future. That's very important. Also, some of you asked the question. James, asked that, how do I write my script? The script is written in the present form, like you already have the thing that you desire. I've said it a number of times. I explained it earlier, that you eat the cooked dish. You don't wait for it to be cooked. You don't say, I'm going to buy cauliflower from Walmart and I'm going to cook it and then I'm going to eat it. No, you see yourself eating the dish present on your table. That's the present tense. So, to give you an example, you might say something like this. You may write something of this order. I am so happy and grateful that I am living in my new house. It is beautiful. I love the bedrooms, I love the bathroom, I love the kitchen. You are living in that house now. And you write it in the present tense. You don't say, oh God, please, I beg you, with my hands, folded, help me, send me the house. You'll never get it this way. That's religious nonsense. It doesn't work. And this is why many people stop going to churches, because churches teach this type of mumbo jumbo, and this type of mumbo jumbo gets you nowhere. And so therefore you start going into your closet. What is your closet? Where Jesus said pray. Your closet is your higher conscious self. It's not some secret room, and you may want to put yourself in a secret room for prayer. That's okay. You can designate a room for prayer in your house, and that prayer will be you every morning getting up and you writing your present tense invocation. There is a difference between affirmation and invocation. There are two differences. Affirmation is simply affirming that which is. Invocation, you calling into being. So I think that sometimes the information is missed, because earlier I explained about Aaron doing the first miracle. And if you remember, I spoke about when Aaron was called out, and they call it the 10 plagues. And the problem is this, that a lot of people miss the information. And that's the problem, because Aaron touched the rod in the river and it turned into blood. Okay? And if it turned into blood, then of course who did it and what's the purpose? So the first one, I think I said the first one was frogs. No, the first one was water turning into blood by Aaron, and the second one was Aaron calling the frogs. And so therefore both of those were done by Aaron. And the purpose of illustration by Aaron was that he called it. He didn't create it. He didn't create blood. And that's something that gets missed between law of attraction and us. This is where we differ. We are slightly different in that. Is that we don't create it. It's already there. You're calling it into question. The house, you don't create a house. You don't build it. You don't put the nails in the wood and you build it. You already are going to call a created house into being. So you speak it, just like Aaron put the rod in the water, boom, and the blood came in the water. It was undrinkable. Then Aaron stretched his hand, his rod, his higher conscious self, called out to the I am, and guess what happened? All the frogs jumped out from everywhere, from the river into the Egyptians' houses, and they're jumping all over the place. Hippity hop, ribbit everywhere. So you got to call it into question. How many times I have to tell you? Call it into question. Don't say I'm going to create it. You're not creating nothing. You're calling it. You're invoking it. There is a difference. When you don't understand this, you will never understand anything. There is a huge amount of difference in affirmation and in invocation. Invocation is calling it. Affirmation is speaking it. So what did Aaron do? Aaron didn't affirm it. Aaron didn't say, hey, I'm going to create frogs today. He didn't say that. Moses didn't go to Pharaoh and say, hey Pharaoh, you over there, I'm going to bring all the frogs on you. No, he didn't say that. What did he say? He said, let the people go. And then what did Aaron do? Aaron was told to stretch out his hand. Aaron stretched out his hand, and boom, the frogs come running in. They all want to eat food inside the house. They're all jumping all over the place, and they're getting roasted in the oven as well. So Aaron invoked. Remember this, Aaron didn't speak at that time. Aaron invoked them by his raising of his arm, right hand. The power of the right hand, authority, raised it. It happens. That's the power of a Kohen, by the way. Absolutely, Eddie, a very, very good question, and I think it's very pertinent you ask this question. What you invoke and what you affirm. You will affirm the things that you desire to have. Let's say an example, a simple example, a house. A house you can affirm. You can say, I am so happy and so grateful that I am living, right? Not I will live. I am living in my 3-bedroom house at whatever place. I'm living in my 3-bedroom house in Florida. Set your range. Open your range up a little bit. Don't just say, oh, I am, because you might say, I am so happy and grateful I'm living in my house in, Jack Street, for argument's sake. You can do that if you want to, but the best thing to do is to allow a little bit room, because there may be a house on Orlando Street which is much better, and it's also not too far away from Jack Street, but I'm just making these street names up so that it helps you and you can narrow it down. So maybe there's a house on Kissimmee in Orlando which is better than being in another district of Orlando, and you may say that I am living in, so you set yourself broadly. Broadly is, I'm living in my 3-bedroom house. I am so happy and grateful. I'm enjoying living in my house in such and such street. I love my bathroom. I love my kitchen. I love my bedroom. I love sleeping there every night. That's the affirmation, by the way. Now, what about an invocation? Invocation is not an affirmation. So invocation would be, you call out, and this is something, an invocation. Listen to the invocation. I call upon my subconscious, or I call upon my I am to invoke, or you say, I invoke my I am to do something. And what could that be? Okay, it could be a relationship. So you might say, I invoke my subconscious. And it could be a relationship with your spouse. You say, I invoke my subconscious to make my relationship great with such and such person. That's an invocation. I invoke my subconscious to bring that beautiful car to my door. That's an invocation. That's the power behind your speech. Now you're not affirming it, you're invoking it. When you get these two principles right, you become very powerful. Yes, it is. That's an invocation. That would have been both, a bit of both. It was a lot of invocation and a few affirmations as well. So when you say, I invoke my, now this is how I would do it. I invoke my eternal I am. Now this is very important how you use these words. Some people may not use those words, they may use differently, but the power is all in the making. I am so, you can say, I am grateful. I am grateful to the eternal I am. Now guess what you're doing? You're invoking God. You're calling down God from the earth, from the heavens into the earth. You're not just calling yourself, you're calling God down. God is listening, by the way. God can listen to everything you say, and He knows it, because angels all around us. So you're saying, I am so happy that I invoke my eternal I am, that then whatever it is that you're going to do, that'll be the rest. So the rest will be, everybody will have different scenarios. Somebody will be for a relationship, somebody will be for a money, and somebody will be for something else, maybe a physical object. So for instance, these are all different things that you can invoke, but I've given you that this is the way you affirm it. You can invoke it by this way. You can say something like this. This is an invocation. I invoke my eternal I am. You can, before that, you can start with gratitude. You can say thank you. I invoke my eternal I am, that I have a great relationship with my mother. My mother loves me and I love my mother. Thank you. Now that's an invocation, by a very powerful invocation. You could replace your mother with your spouse. You could replace your mother with whoever you love. So That's how it works. So this is some examples that how you do your affirmations. You could say a dream job. You could say that I invoke my eternal I am. Now remember, when you say my eternal I am, what are you saying? You're saying Yudhe Vahe in the present tense. That's the meaning of Yudhe Vahe in the present tense. I am so happy, or I am so grateful, or I am grateful to my eternal I am. I invoke my eternal I am let me rephrase, not let's see, let me get it right in my mind. I am grateful to the eternal I am for this great job, my dream job that I am doing, and whatever that job is, title of the job. And if you want to earn a certain amount of salary within that job, then you will attach that salary to it. You will say, I am so grateful to the eternal I am, because this way what you're doing, you are not only giving thanks, but you're invoking God's personal name forever, His attributes. This is what He said. So these are my attributes, these are my specialities, this is me forever. It will never change. No one can change it. So you're saying, you're calling upon God Himself by saying that I am so grateful to the eternal I am. I invoke my eternal I am, or you can say I invoke my subconscious self, that I am doing my such and such job, and I'm so happy that I'm earning such and such salary. Put a figure to it, whatever figure you desire. Put a figure to that, and then at the end of that, full stop, period, and you then say the thanks. You say thank you at least 2 times, or at least, or you can extend it further to 3 times. So at least 2 times or further to 3 times. I found that both of those things work well. Now this is just one example. Let me see if I can give you another example of for instance, invocation, or let's just say affirmation. Now here is something that I use, and it works beautifully. This is scripture and this is real life. Forsake her not, and she shall preserve you. Love her, and she shall keep you. This is an invocation, by the way. Forsake her not, and she shall preserve you. Love her, and she shall keep you. Then you can say, I am loving the incredible, passionate relationship that I have with my wife. Full stop. Thank you. See, this is now, now what we're doing? We are using scripture. We are using God's written word, and we are mixing it with our desire, and we are doing the two together. Yeah, that is Adi, that is an invocation. So what you can do is you can use scripture. You can use scripture to back up your invocation and affirmation. You can mix the two together. So what's another way to do it? Well, let me tell you another way to do it. Another way would be this way. I've actually written something down over here, and I would encourage you to use that. Let me see, where is it? It's over here somewhere. I can find it. Let's see. Give me a second. Let me do a little trace. Okay, here it is. Okay, this is what you're going to say. This is to do with your spouse. You can say, the eternal I am said in Proverbs 31:12, that my wife will do good to me all the days of my life, and no evil will come to me. I receive this goodness from, name your spouse. That's how you should be writing it. And you say it same for the man. And so we are using scripture now. We are using scripture, and we are using words that we normally would use, but we're combining the power together. And it's a very, very, very powerful. I'm telling you, it's so powerful that you start to think manifest. You start to think come into together. You start to see relationships that are broken heal. I've seen it with my own eyes. And so this is the way to do it. This is the way you invoke it. And this is just icing on the surface. I mean, this stuff is powerful. This stuff is powerful when you start putting it into real practice. But like I said, in the morning, dawn is the time that the clock strikes, hour of calling things into question. Hour of calling things into question, and you will be done. Okay, so simcha for you, if somebody is wanting to have a really beautiful relationship with their spouse, and then you can repeat an affirmation and an invocation at the same time. You can pick up a scripture. And I explained the example of the eternal I am, which you can use in this particular way. And don't get into this fad about is it Yehovah, is it Yahweh, is it Yahweh. Don't get into that. Use the words that God Himself used. He said, I am that I am. Or I am that I am and will be. So you use the same words. You say for a spouse, you will say the eternal I am said in Proverbs 31:12 that my wife or stroke husband will do good to me all the days of my life, and no evil will come to me. I receive this goodness from such and such husband name or wife name. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Done. Okay? That's how it's done. So what you're now doing, you're reinforcing what God has already said. There's another one. Some of you might be looking for children. You're going to say, I am blessed. I am so happy and grateful to the eternal I am. I am blessed in the fruit of my body with my sons and daughters, as you have stated. I receive my sons and daughters with your spouse name. Thank you, thank you, thank you. See, this is some examples for you to follow. Absolutely, Amicia, you can use it for your spouse. You can no, don't do it like that. That's very simplistic, by saying I am that my wife Margaret take care of me. No, that's the wrong way to do it. You need to do it, word it this particular way. You word it, I am so happy and grateful to the eternal I am. Again, let me repeat. I am so happy and grateful to the eternal I am that my beautiful spouse, Margaret, she is taking care of me every day of her life. I bless her, bless her, bless her. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's power. That's power in there. You got to appreciate that woman for your daily taking carings. You got to appreciate her. You got to show love to her. You got to put it out in the air. You got to speak it. That is powerful, Yemisia. You don't make it so basic that it's sound like it's just one of those things that happens. So you need to put it out there properly, and then you will get the reward for it as well in the present life. Because what you put out in the air is what you receive. The Messiah, Yahushua, Jesus of Nazareth, He said that seek the kingdom first. Well, where is the kingdom? The kingdom is inside us. So what are we seeking? We're seeking from the higher consciousness. And everything will be added. Everything means everything. Everything doesn't exclude a house, doesn't exclude your dream job. It doesn't exclude travel. It doesn't exclude a nice car. Everything means everything, by the way. Everything that is within the sphere of God. God created everything. Everything has energy. Everything can attach to you based on what you call for and what you invoke for. They're very, very powerful stuff that you've been taught over here. I know people are paying thousands of dollars for this stuff to learn this properly, how to use it in their life. People are paying thousands of dollars for this, thousands, an arm and a leg. Some people are paying $10,000 to $15,000 at a time, but they're not taught half this stuff. They're only taught one or two principles, and that's what they pay for, by the way. So this is just why not? Why not? Share it with your children, share it with your family, share it with your relatives, share it with everybody. Everybody that can benefit, share it with them. Share it with your neighbors. Share it, share it, share it. There's no restrictions on sharing. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to have a great Shabbat, have a great week ahead. Don't forget that there is Purim. Purim is occurring next week. If you're on the lunar calendar, Purim, I believe, is 21st, the daytime. And if you're on the lunar, they start at night on the 20th. So 20th night, but I mean for me, on the lunar, so I won't do that on the 20th night. I'll do it on the 21st day, will be Purim. So if you're doing the Purim or Purim, it's a feast of, counting lots, I guess. And it's a feast to do with the festival to do with the salvation or the rescue or the deliverance of our people in Iran, Persia, of Queen Esther's story. You can go up, read up about Chadasha in there. And so if you do celebrate that, by all means, have a family get together, do a little thanksgiving to the God of our forefathers, the God that said, "My name will never change." Give thanks to Him, give thanks to the Master Yahushua, and have a nice meal with your family if you do celebrate it. So I encourage you to do that. There's absolutely no harm with it. It's actually a great idea to do it. Always good to remember and give thanks for the magnificent miracles that happened in our families' lives, which I think is pertinent and important. So thank you for coming. Have a great week ahead. Have a great Shabbat. Have a great new day. I leave you in shalom and peace. Rabbi Simon Alta. Shalom, shalom.